Awesome stuff there. As we're just about set for this one. We first start off, Pat, with Cardinal Hayes, right? 7-3 on the season for the Cardinals. They are your defending Catholic League and state champions. But as CJ O'Neill said, we are a different team. It's a different year. So as you mentioned, they did have some struggles early on, but they are playing their best football in November, which is kind of what they do there in the Grand Concourse. And when we talk about some of their key players, Pat, two guys that really jump off the page here are impact players for Cardinal Hayes. We'll show them to you now. Reed Jones and Kamari Valentine.
Yeah, Reed Jones, absolute stud out on the edge for them. He's going to use all of his 6'3" frame to box out cornerbacks all night long here for Richie Beelan. Recently committed to Yale, so look for him to make a big impact on the next level. And then Kamari Valentine, in my opinion, the best defensive lineman in all of New York State this year. If you're a Giants fan, reminiscent of a Dexter Lawrence type, causing chaos inside all night long. So look for that to be a real headache for this St. Anthony's offense.
On the other side of things for St. Anthony's, 8-3 on the season. The number 2 seed again, that big win, and now they are healthy, right? So the guy to your right, he returned for that regular season game against Hayes. You see the numbers. I mean, almost more than half of his tackles are for loss. Cam Urso, really a disruptor on the defensive side, and Xavier Bala. You want to control the clock. He and Gary Merrill will be big parts of that. Yeah,
Dylan, really hard to overstate the importance of Cam Urso to this St. Anthony's defense. He's a guy who causes chaos all day long in opposing backfield, so look for him to have a big night if you're a Friars fan. And then on the flip side of the ball, Xavier Bala, guy who's got interest from schools, the likes of Rutgers and Syracuse, an absolute stud running back. Look for him to get established early.
Well, we talked to both coaches. We identified some keys, Pat, for this game. Let's show you those keys to the game now.
Yeah, for Cardinal Hayes, got to play with a sense of urgency. Last time around, you didn't touch the ball that much. You lost a time of possession battle against St. Anthony's. So when you do get the chance to get out there, look to spread the ball out to your top playmakers. And also this time of year, got to do the little things perfectly. Execution is the name of the game as you get into that playoff stretch. On the flip side for St. Anthony's, got to limit big plays. We mentioned Reed Jones, a couple of these other stud receivers at Cardinal Hayes. They can blow the top off of a defense in a hurry, so look to limit that all day long. Control the clock. Last time around, that was a recipe for success. You won by a touchdown up at Columbia just 13 days ago. If you can dominate time of possession like you did last time, great chance of moving on to the title game. And then lastly, you got to tackle. Richie Beelan is one of the most slippery and elusive quarterbacks that I've seen at the high school level, so they're going to need to gang tackle all day long.
And one of our keys, if you will, right, these are what the coaches mentioned, but for us, we talked about it off camera, Pat, these two quarterbacks, in a lot of ways, they're mirror images of each other, right? They're both so dangerous in multiple ways. Who can be the best version of themselves here tonight?
Yeah, the question becomes your defensive coordinator out here at Cy Donnelly Field, to blitz or not to blitz. These quarterbacks, you certainly don't want to give them all day, but as soon as you send pressure, they can escape the pocket and make you really pay for it. So going to be a tough night for both defenses. Expect a high-scoring matchup out here.
There's a good look at Joe Minucci, of course, the head coach here of St. Anthony's.
Joe Minucci, one of the very best doing it today in the Catholic League. He's right there with Anthony Anderson, a former St. Anthony's great. But Coach Minucci knows how to get these guys buzzing, dialed in as they approach this home stretch of the season. Look for them to play their best football out here tonight.
Friars get the ball first. Number 3 for Cardinal Hayes. He does everything. I'm not quite sure at 1 o'clock this afternoon on the Grand Concourse if Rich Beelan wasn't literally driving that bus the long way out here to South Huntington.
Absolutely. Richie Beelan, a do-it-all kind of guy, comes from one of the best football families that we've seen in New York in a long time, and he's going to really have to bring his best if he wants to walk out of here on the way to a title game.
The game we anticipated is upon us. Cardinal Hayes, St. Anthony's, the Catholic AAA semifinals. And if recent history is any indication, Pat, expect a lot of points here tonight. There is the opening kickoff, fielded at about the 15-yard line. Really quality return up the field, and that's exactly what St. Anthony's wants. Great field position for the Friars. Kevin Moore with that return, which now brings out, of course, listen, for my money right now, the most dynamic player in the Catholic High School Football League, especially when you consider the numbers for Gary Merrill this year. Ridiculous, like video game type numbers for the QB, who's actually heading to Carolina on a lacrosse scholarship. We'll get more on that as we go along. Opening play goes up the sideline, and a really good first down run. That's Xavier Bala going for a first down. But here are the numbers we were talking about, Pat. Look at this for Gary Merrill.
Yeah, you know, when you're talking about at this junction of the season, over 44 touchdowns is ridiculous. You're playing 17 games in the NFL. Sitting here right now, 10 under his belt. He couldn't be more impressed with Gary Merrill.
St. Anthony's trying to go quickly, a flag on the play. And that worked for the Friars. It was encroachment on St. Anthony's. Our official for today's game, Chris Atchison, is your white hat. You've got Frank Parker, your umpire, Paul Rupp, line judge, Alex Toussaint as your field judge, Pierre Williams, your back judge, and Matt Powers, your side judge. Handoff down this near sideline, and it's Bala again. It looks like he will once again move the chains.
What a great sign early for the St. Anthony's offense. The fact that Xavier Bala seems to be hitting his stride on these opening 2 carries. If he's able to lighten the load for Gary Merrill, going to be a really long day for this Hayes D.
It's a great field position by that Moore return. And look at this run. Bala again. A third first down run for the sophomore. Let's meet the starters offensively for St. Anthony's while we can. They're moving it quick, these guys. Merrill, Bala, Taylor, Russo, Simmons, and Hart up front. Dowling, Groenveld, McNaughton, Ortiz, and Chanchuli.
Well done, Dylan.
Thank you. First pass for Merrill goes to the outside. Great recognition defensively by Cardinal Hayes. They wrapped up, and they wrapped up quick. Let's meet the defensive starters for Cardinal Hayes. Up front, a trio that has been together for 3 years as starters. It's Kamari Valentine and Blake Beelan on the outsides. Lopez, you got Smart, Losman, Garcia, Biggio, Rogers, Sabangi, Smith, and Simmons in the secondary. Another handoff. It's Merrill taking it himself.
And Dylan, right there, just an example of why Gary Merrill is such a dynamic threat. That spin move right in the middle of the hole. Not many guys can do that, keep moving upfield, and just one of the very many tools in his repertoire.
3rd and 2. So 3rd and 2. High snap. Merrill's got to recover it. Other quarterbacks might throw the ball away. Gary Merrill is not other quarterbacks because he gets into the end zone. That is why Gary Merrill is special.
Are you kidding me right there? I mean, that's reminiscent of a little Johnny Manziel action maybe against Alabama. You drop the ball. You think that's a dead play right there, almost in the arms of Kamari Valentine at the beginning of it, but somehow able to get around the edge. And Gary Merrill just putting on a show right there, scoring his 45th touchdown on the year.
Like I said, others would just throw the ball away, right? You hope for another opportunity. Not Gary Merrill.
I got to admit, I was saying throw the ball away for a second there.
So it's an opportunity now for the PAT. The kick is up, and it is good. Michael Forrest with the PAT, and that is, Pat Godfrey, the way you want to start if you are St. Anthony's.
No doubt. You know, St. Anthony's loves rallying up this crowd, which is always rowdy on a Friday night at Cy Donnelly Field. And this crowd's got a lot to cheer for after that opening quick possession, and no more efficient than that right there.
Yeah, and it starts, listen, it's always, coaches always talk about the 3 phases of football, right? Special teams, check, right? Great return by Kevin Moore. And then the offense hummed right down the field for that unorthodox 18-yard touchdown run for Gary Merrill, and it is exactly the start that the Friars wanted.
You know, aside from a little pass to the line of scrimmage to Will Hart, they kept the ball on the ground the entire drive and had a ton of success, and that's going to be a real nice recipe and formula for success all night for St. Anthony's if they can continually run the ball.
So kicking off is Liam DiGregorio. And let's see if Hayes can respond.
Yeah, Dylan, going into this one, we we're definitely saying if there was a line out there tonight, we'd be taking the over. Always some fireworks when these two teams get together. So I'd expect a quick response from Richie Beelen and co.
Yeah, these two met last year in the quarterfinals. Hayes coming here and beating the Friars. We'll have those highlights later on in the broadcast. This return from the 12-yard line. Going sideline to sideline, not a whole lot doing there for Sincere Darrell.
On the return.
So we've seen Gary Merrill here tonight. Let's meet his opposite quarterback, Richie Beelen, heading to Syracuse to play football. And he has been the most dynamic quarterback for the last couple of years, following literally in his brother's footsteps.
You know, it's been a joy getting to watch Richie Beelen develop in the footsteps of another great at Cardinal Hayes. Henry, who's now at Duke. Richie has had a great career, a nice senior season, but in his eyes, nothing really matters until you get down to this home stretch. What happens around the championship time? And he's looking to really make his mark on Cardinal Hayes in his last year.
There's a handoff, and there's Beelen doing Beelen-type things outside of the 40. A first down run for Rich Beelen.
That's good for a Hayes first
Rich
down.
Beelen is about 190 pounds, not the world's biggest guy, but he runs with such physicality. Not an easy guy to bring down, and really, really important to gang tackle if you're on the opposing side.
First and 10 from the 41-yard line. And now it's Beelen. Quick out. And look at this. That's what you mentioned, right? You have an opportunity to tackle. You don't do it right away. And that goes to Reed Jones, the Yale commit, and another first down. And now, just like St. Anthony's, Hayes is moving the ball quickly.
No doubt. You know, they're putting the pedal to the metal, getting this defense on their heels. And Richie Beelen loves playing a little bit of momentum behind him.
Beelen fakes the handoff, goes up the middle. Rich Beelen spins, still on his feet, and he's pulled down at about the 15-yard line.
About as good of a play fake as you're going to see right there. He feigns the handoff to Sincere Darrell and then winds up pulling it the last second. Executed to perfection.
This time he does hand off. There's Darrell into the end zone. Touchdown, Cardinal Hayes.
Touchdown.
15-yard touchdown run for Sincere Darrell.
It feels like we're just trying to catch our breath up here right now. We expected a quick response, but I don't know if anybody knew it would be that fast. Less than a minute for Cardinal Hayes to get down the field and punch this one in right there. Sincere Darrell, one of a couple really talented backs here at Cardinal Hayes. And what a emphatic response from the opposing sideline.
Rich Beelen on to kick the PAT. His long snapper is Bodie Sabanji, Ken G. Burnham to hold. Snap is high, and now it's flipped.
It's a fake.
You got to improvise. It wasn't a fake. It was a high snap, and then Reed Jones couldn't get it down. So they fail on the two-point conversion.
7-6.
And how often do we see those points add up by the end of the game? So 7-6 early on here in this semifinal, which we certainly expect to be a wild one.
Dylan, we always talk about special teams being 1/3 of the game. And right there you see it play out, an incredible response in short order from Cardinal Hayes, but unfortunately for them, still down by 1 point after the failed execution on the PAT. For our fans at home, a little bit of technical difficulties, but no doubt about it. It is 7-6 here at Cy Donnelly Field.
We'll get that fixed up for you. And again, these two teams, you mentioned it before, right? Really both score a ton of points. St. Anthony's averaging 34.8 points a game. Hayes, 27 points a game. And then when they meet together, those numbers always seem to increase.
All bets are off. Yeah, last time 42-34, just a couple weeks ago.
And this is an angled run towards this sideline. It was Beelen with the hit.
Looks like Jake Johnson right there on the return. Really nice job so far from this return unit from St. Anthony's, giving Gary Merrill some good field position to work with.
So St. Anthony's, their second drive starting from their own 38-yard line. And as expected, right, on cue, both quarterbacks doing what we expect of them early on.
Exactly. And as this game wears on, expect these defenses to get a little bit tired out. Not a long period of rest right there for the Hayesmen. And already back out there.
Actually, they move. Yeah, they're at the 38. We're ready to go. Chris Atchison checks with his officials. Maryland shotgun. Hands it off. Bala tries to cut it back inside. Ripped backwards. You saw Blake Beelan, 70, as well as Kamari Valentine in on the tackle.
Yeah, right there, they just tried to run an inside zone into the heart of the beast, but that is no easy task when you got the likes of Kamari Valentine and Blake Beelan on the other side. Two of the best D linemen in the state, and no room to work there for Bala.
Yeah, Valentine, 6'3", 17. Blake Beelan, 6'3", 295. Quick out. And that's a first down. Johnny Russo.
No pass is complete to Russo. Rogers with the stop. And that's good for St. Anthony's.
Friars moving to the 49. Interesting to see, too. Both teams looking to move the football here quickly. Handoff to Bala. Again, tried to cut it inside. Gets a couple of yards.
Not going to be any easy work for Xavier Bala on the inside today. This offensive line, Ryan McNaughton, Jack Ortiz, Jack Gronwald, all have their hands full.
2nd and 7.
Joshua Bluesman, the junior from Queens, with the tackle on that. 2nd and 7. Here's Merrill for himself, cutting it to the outside.
Merrill on the carry, run out of bounds by Rogers.
Again,
and
there was a Hayes player who got a hand that looked like by the shoulder pad. But you're not stopping a Gary Merrill by tackling up there.
Yeah, Merrill just has such great balance when he's out there in the open field. You saw as he got pushed out of bounds, a lot of guys right to the ground. He's able to keep his feet. Similar to Beelan, you really just got to gang tackle him if you hope to have some success on defense.
Merrill. And there's James Taylor.
No,
Taylor points the way to another first down.
Yeah, really nice quick hitter out there to James Taylor. He says how sweet it is to be loved by Gary Merrill with that target and making the most of it.
Never mind Carolina. He's got end zone on his mind.
Exactly. For those who love our dad jokes, plenty more where that came from.
1st and 10 from the 32.
And it's Merrill. Oh, look at a fake by Merrill. There's the spin again. Gary Merrill is not human. Touchdown, St. Anthony's.
Oh, my word. Right there, Gary Merrill hits his circle button, and what should have been a tackle for loss winds up being 6 for St. Anthony's to put him ahead by a score. You'll see this right here. He was dead to rights as he's almost hit in the backfield right away by Jaden Biggio, somehow able to get out of his grasp. And another quick response there from St. Anthony's.
And interesting here too. They're gonna go for 2. So kind of a free play when Hayes misses their PAT.
Trying to go up by 2 scores right here.
Merrill to the outside. Merrill cuts it in, lowers his shoulder, and he's in for 2.
Gary Merrill, not an easy guy to bring down under any circumstances, but especially when he only needs 3 yards. Right here, they're just going to line up at the left hash, give him a ton of field to work with, and basically just say do a full sprint down the line, get upfield. That's all Gary Merrill needed to make it a 2-score game.
And how about Johnny Russo there, number 4?
Really nice job out there by the receiver. You know, it's so important for these receivers to get involved in the blocking game if you hope to have success running the ball. These guys at St. Anthony's always do a great job. right there, that's the difference between a 2-score game and a 1-score game.
Let's show you the starters again offensively for St. Anthony's, because this is a machine, right? Like, let's take a look at these guys. And the St. Anthony's offensive starters, they're brought to you by Malloy University.
Yeah, you know, the Malloy University Lions, a lot of these guys have the heart of a Lion, especially looking at that offensive line. Billy Dowling, Bryce Chanchuli out on the edges have done a great job all year long. And then those big boys, Gronveld, McNaughton, and Ortiz, like I said, had their hands full, but they did an admirable job just 13 days ago handling this Hayes defensive line, and so far looking really good.
So the 2-point conversion by Merrill makes it 15-6 early on for St. Anthony's. And it was interesting because we both kind of thought coming in, maybe you want to keep the ball on the ground, keep the clock going, but they've clearly seen stuff here, an opportunity to score the ball. They're not worrying so much about clock possession as they are about putting points on the board right now.
Exactly. If you're concerned that you're losing the time of possession battle because you're scoring that fast, that's not the worst thing in the world.
And there's Darrell with the return out to about the 32, kind of where he got to the last time. And let's again take a look at the Cardinal Hayes starting lineup, and the Cardinals starters also, the offensive starters, brought to you by Malloy University. Of course, their QB, Rich Beelan. There you see Kenji Burnham, the big guy. Kamari Valentine, you want to make a statement about protecting your quarterback, you bring in Kamari Valentine at H-back. You got Reed Jones, Antoine Harvey, Adonis Cortez, and then the Mann brothers on either side, Philip Ramdas Frazier and Blake Beelan as well.
Jaden Mann going to Syracuse with Richie next year, so he's going to be protecting his quarterback for the better part of, I guess, 7-8 years when it's all said and done, but one of the very best left tackles in the game right now at the high school level.
Empty backfield, we saw Kenji Burnham, and this time it's Antoine Harvey. There was a fake, and it was Beelan taking it himself, and he pushes forward to the 40-yard line, to the 39-yard line. And that was all Rich Beelan's strength right there.
Yeah, not a good sign if you're calling plays with St. Anthony's D. If Richie Beelan can get 6-7 yards at will against you, got to be real stout up front and take your chances with him beating you on the edge.
So 2nd and 5. Same play call. It's Beelan once again. A little stutter step, a little juke, and Rich Beelan cuts it to the outside, back inside, and finally pulled down inside the 30.
Dylan, going into this, you said it was all going to be about tackling for the St. Anthony's defense, and right there, a few different missed tackles on the way to a long gain for Richie Beelan. So tough to catch our breath so far in this first quarter, but both offenses absolutely ripping. You see right here, Richie Beelan breaking some ankles right there out in the open field.
What's that combination there when you're playing Madden? He hit all those moves right there. There is the handoff this time to Harvey, and he gets taken down at about the 25-yard line.
With the stop.
Antoine Harvey, the senior from the Bronx, good dual threat guy, right? Both receiving and also his ability to run the football on jet sweeps and things of that like.
Without a doubt, definitely a very talented guy. You know, a great addition to Reed Jones out there on the edge. And when Antoine Harvey gets going, very, very tough to play honest defense against this team. Nobody can really double cover. No good decision to make.
Once again, empty backfield for Beelan. Gets the snap. Finds a man downfield. That's Kenji Burnham.
You know, Burnham plays a lot of running back, but also a great weapon out there on the edge with his hands. Has almost 500 yards receiving on the year.
1st and goal for Hayes.
So now the Cardinals with a 1st and goal. Beelan's got options. Whoa, but now the ball's on the ground. Beelan picks it up, and he is stuffed.
Fumble picked up by Beelan and again tackled by the Flyers in the backfield.
Look at Cam Urso right in the middle of it.
Yeah, that defense has been looking for a reason to get fired up for St. Anthony's.
Right there, on the stop.
Able to penalize Hayes for this early mistake here. Burnham looks to grab the ball with 2 hands. Not perfect form. We talk about the little things, and that's setting them back a little bit, giving an opportunity for St. Anthony's to maybe get off the field.
Second and goal now from the 19-yard line. Beelan goes this sideline. That is complete. Once again, Reed Jones, the senior from Brooklyn, makes the catch at the 10.
Reed Jones does a really good job here, just coming back to the ball, helping out his quarterback, and all of a sudden making this third down and goal a lot more manageable coming in from about the 9.5, 10-yard line.
All right, Flyer fans, let's make some noise. It is third down
from the 10. And this already feels like a really important drive. Because if you're going to go punch for punch with St. Anthony, you can't afford to fall too far behind and a terrific offense that St. Anthony's has.
Without a doubt. You know, Gary Merrill's not going to give you any mercy, so you're going to have to make sure you're executing every single opportunity you get right down here at the red zone.
We have a timeout for St. Anthony's. So some alignment maybe not being where the Friars wanted it to be. So they'll talk things over. And we mentioned that matchup a year ago. He was here in the quarterfinals. Cardinal Hayes had to make the long trip from the Bronx. And they were a team that in the regular season, you mentioned it, St. Anthony's beat them. And we wondered, right, what version of Hayes will show up at Cy Donnelly Field. And we saw the best version of them. Let's take a look at some of the highlights, Pat.
Yeah, I remember going into this one thinking game of the year type action, but it wound up being all Cardinal Hayes from the jump. They had lost a heartbreaker earlier that season, but as we all know, up at Grand Concourse, they like to play their best football approaching Thanksgiving time, and Richie Beelan really put his name on the map in terms of New York football and New York football legends for that, right, on the way to a Catholic State Championship win last year. So
Merrill, though, wasn't going to be denied. He came back, but look at, again, Beelan doing Beelan things. That's Cleveland Charlton, his favorite target a year ago.
Yeah, now playing at Towson.
So that made it 28-7, and really the Friars can never get going. As it was Hayes that won this one convincingly. So third and goal now for Hayes. Beelan rolls left, slings it sidearm, finds a target, into the end zone. No, out at the 2-yard line was Harvey.
Wow, this is a close one right here. Our official right there had the best view in the house, so apparently just short as he sticks out his hand. Reaching to try and get across, but just a little bit short. And this brings up a big decision. Got to imagine C.J. O'Neal is going to want to punch this one in on fourth down.
Let's make some noise.
Fourth and goal from the 2. Number 1 is Kenji Burnham.
Richie Beelan's got the wide side of the field to use, can roll out to his right, maybe a little bit of a run-pass option look here.
Big play already here in the first quarter. Beelan takes a snap, turns, spins. Did he get in? He did. Touchdown, Cardinal Hayes.
Cardinal Hayes, touchdown.
You see big Kamari Valentine out in front of him, helping block right there. But this is a play that maybe only Richie Beelan can make. He gets hit behind the line of scrimmage. Looks like St. Anthony's has him dead to rights, but all of a sudden just keeps spinning, keeps fighting, breaking through the tackle of Julian Kosha. And all of a sudden, Cardinal Hayes right back where they wanted in this game. About to go for 2 to bring this one within 1 point.
Yeah, they're going to be chasing that point that they didn't get early, I think, throughout this game. Here's Beelan back across his body, slings it, end zone, 2-point conversion is good. Making the catch there, Adonis Cortez.
And this right here is just like a Madden-like throw from Richie Beelan. Going against his body, he's going to reverse course across the field, couple St. Anthony's defenders on his tracks, and just throws across the body for a perfect strike.
15-14 your score. St. Anthony's the 1-point lead. You're watching this Catholic AAA semifinal game right here on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
High school sports fans, Varsity Media is the exclusive live stream partner of Nassau County Championships. To live stream fall, winter, and spring championship events, head to varsitymediapass.com to order. Now accessible on smart TVs. Varsity Media is your home for the Nassau County Championships.
To show the bracket again, right? Because you back here at Cy Donnelly Field. Rich Beelan gets a 2-point conversion, finds Cotez, or gets a touchdown, gets Cotez for the 2-point conversion, and he brings these Cardinals back within one. A rolling kickoff, and it's fielded. That was Cotez. He just got the reception, and he forced Jake Johnston out of bounds. And there is a flag, though, on the play.
Flag on the play.
Terrific crew here.
Block in the back against
You know
St.
it's
Anthony.
a legit crew, and well, one, Chris Atchison's on it.
Oh, yeah.
As the white hat, but then also you've got other guys during the year who are white hats or having other positions here tonight.
Hey, well, like we said, Dylan, this is the game of the year, so to speak, in the Catholic Football League, so they're only bringing out the absolute best, and very lucky to have a great officiating crew out here tonight.
So the block in the back pushes the Friars back, and this is their worst field position yet. They've had the ball pretty much midfield their first 2 times.
We'll see if it matters, though, Dylan. You know, the St. Anthony's team on offense has been a freight train thus far. Not too much resistance from this Cardinal Hayes D, so the Cardinals going to look to buckle down here, but Gary Merrill might have other plans.
1st and 10 from the 16-yard line. There's Bala up the middle. That's a great looking tackle, though.
Beelan with the stop.
Losman looks like.
Yeah, and you saw Blake Beelan also in the middle, number 70.
Joshua Losman, the junior, number 33 on the inside, such a valuable player
Second
for
and
this
9 from the
defense.
17.
Cardinal Hayes.
So just a gain of 1 on 1st down. 2nd and 9 from the 17-yard line. And look out. Kamari Valentine bowls over a lineman, but who moved first?
Flag on the play.
You see the pointing going on.
That was Ryan McNaughton right there, the center, so wonder if that was a snap infraction or if Kamari was just a little bit anxious to get off the ball right there.
Full start against the Friars.
He was right. That goes against the Friars. So the bad field position after now a couple of penalties, it backs St. Anthony's up even more.
Yeah, this is new territory for this offense so far out here
Second
tonight.
down and 14
Playing
from the
behind
12.
the sticks.
2nd and 14 from the 12-yard line. Beelan over the middle. James Taylor. So much for bad field position.
Exactly, and right there, that's the value of getting your running game going early if you're St. Anthony's. The whole defense bid on that play fake. Gary Merrill able to just pull it and deliver an absolute strike over the middle to one of his favorite targets, James Taylor,
Listen,
who's churning and burning.
Taylor has seen fire and he's seen rain, and he also sees Gary Merrill throwing a perfect ball his way. And now Bala to the outside. Now he moves the chains. Momentum is amazing in this sport, Pat.
Yeah, it's truly incredible. Both of these offenses really just clicking across the board right now.
1st and 10 Friars from the 46.
The Friars now from the 46-yard line. Merrill checks with Bala. Trips left for the Friars. Merrill, he's got options. And this one
Merrill's pass
goes to Will Hart. And what a season Will Hart has had, the senior from Shoreham. 28 receptions, 477 yards, and 9 touchdowns.
Yeah, 9 touchdowns in the wide receiver spot at the high school level. It's really just unheard of.
And there's Merrill. Barrels over a would-be defender, and he's pulled down inside the 35-yard line.
Yeah, it's a really nice job right there by Jack Ortiz and Bryce Chanchuli. Opening up a nice hole right there. You see Kamari Valentine almost blow this play up in the backfield, and then big number 99 chase it all the way down. Which is one of the many reasons that guy is just special.
Tyrone Smith wanted to know what the number of that truck was. First quarter in the books, and it's been a good one to this point. St. Anthony's a 15-14 lead. You're watching it all right here on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
Going, Israel Bonikunda, running back for the New York Jets, and you're watching Varsity Media.
At Catholic Health, when we see our island, we see a region that lives, feels, and pulses with energy. But before it all, we see you, because it's your lives that breathe life into this island. At Catholic Health, we're able to provide the highest quality, most innovative care for your body, because our culture cherishes your humanity. Long live Long Island.
Welcome back here to Cy Donnelly Field. Dylan Butler alongside Pat Godfrey's the Catholic AAA semifinals. And there's a good look at C.J. O'Neill right in the middle of that huddle. The longtime head coach, his 22nd season at the helm, a Mount St. Michael graduate of 1989.
Yeah, Coach O'Neill, one of the very best coaching at the high school level in all of New York State. As we've mentioned before, he's got a ton of experience, and more particularly a ton of experience getting his teams hot at the end of the season.
And CJ also had an empty household this week. The new house, right, at Lido Beach, right? He was getting it painted, right? So his wife, his daughter, Charlotte Ann, they got out of the way.
I have a strange feeling, though, this time of year he's not doing much relaxing at the beach.
No.
He's got
a lot of film work and a lot of movement as well on that right side of the line. And it looks like this will again go against St. Anthony's.
Remains to be seen whether these penalties are going to hurt either offense. St. Anthony's the third penalty of this drive, but still moving along.
Merrill, like shot out of a cannon, turns, spins, and he gets pulled down at the 29-yard line. And when we think of the year that Gary Merrill has had, 44 touchdowns, all of 45 now, all those yards, you're like, he's going to play just lacrosse?
You know, I've been calling this for a while. I think he's committed to UNC for lacrosse right now. I really implore Mac Brown to get on the phone, maybe make the quick trip up here to South Huntington and see if you can get number 16 on that football roster next year as well. Because I think
you've got a lot of coaching connections. Just shoot a quick text.
Hey, Gary, if you need help, give me a call.
Merrill, plenty of time, airs it out, goes sideline, end zone, touchdown.
James Taylor right there. What a play by number 1, and what a ball delivered by number 16, Gary Merrill. This is an absolute beaut down the sideline.
I told you he had end zone on his mind.
Oh, yeah. And right here you'll see when you let Gary Merrill step into a ball, this has been the most improved area of his game. That touch pass into this senior year, gotten so much more proficient as a passer, and it doesn't get any better than that by your senior quarterback, dialing up one of his favorite targets. And once again, we're sitting here looking at St. Anthony's about to go for 2 to try and stretch this to a 2-score ball game.
And by the way, we were both wrong. Touchdowns 45, 46, and 47 on the year for Merrill.
Oh, my word.
Cuts it inside. Merrill for 2. He's in.
Got it. Right there, they're going to run to the short side of the field. It's a little bit deceptive. And Gary Merrill was seemingly stopped, but you got to fight through the whistle when you're dealing with number 16. He's going to lower his shoulder in a bad spot right there, but somehow able to plow forward, just get over the line, and stretch this one out to a 9-point ball game here early in the second quarter.
We'll take a look again, Pat, at the bracket in the AAA, right? And there you can see it. Iona, they got that coveted bye. Right, you avoid that quarterfinal game, and now they're rested to take on a tough Chaminade team tomorrow afternoon up there on Wilmot Road.
If you're Coach Spagnolo up in New Rochelle, got to hope that it's really rest over rust for your team. Got a big challenge against the Chaminade crew that has been gritty all year long. Almost beat Cardinal Hayes earlier this season and actually beat St. Anthony's to start the year. So a big test for the Gales up in New Rochelle tomorrow afternoon. Just waiting to see whether they'll be working to play Cardinal Hayes or St. Anthony's.
And you can see there, too, of all the quarterfinal games, only that Chaminade-Farrell game. What a game that was over at the Lions then, as Chaminade won that one 14-7. So once again, pressure on Cardinal Hayes, right? It's a 23-14 lead for St. Anthony's.
It is a lot of fun. Already feeling like a little bit of a chess match out here between these two offenses, seeing who can one-up who.
Can you play chess that quick?
I certainly can. You know, I was a former offensive lineman, so you need some brain power to play chess.
This is like a game of chess on Red Bull.
Yeah,
just
exactly.
Crazy. The offensive output for both of these teams. As Di Gregorio, look out. Some miscommunication there among a few Hayes players, and it was Kenji Burnham on the fair catch. So a big weekend here in the Catholic High School Football League. Pat, let's take a look at some of the semifinal matchups across the AAA, the AA 1 and 2 as well.
Yeah, Dylan, really excited for Fordham Prep versus St. Joe's by the Sea going off tonight. Also got Mount St. Michael versus Severian, so that should be a great one. A couple teams that were in the championship last year. More Catholic versus St. Peter's out on Staten Island. And then Kennedy Catholic versus Holy Cross. Got to love that one as well.
And then, of course, Chaminade-Iona rounding it out.
Good.
And by about, 5 o'clock or so tomorrow, we'll know our championship triple header squads. And that's a terrific run. The extra effort put forth as well by the guy they call Ken G.
Kenji Burnham, as we mentioned, has had a great year both on the ground and receiving the ball. Almost 30 receptions on the year.
So Ken G got 7 on first down, 2nd and 3 from the 32-yard line. Beelan back to pass, deflected and nearly intercepted. Some terrific stuff.
But looks like Nick Shelvin right there. He was just hanging out in the flats a little bit. I don't think that Rich Beelan ever saw him.
Let's take a look. I don't think we got to meet him first. The starting defense for St. Anthony's, brought to you by Malloy University. Urso's back. Charzuk and Garcia up front. Drew Kosha, Kelton Shevlin, Mikey Riley, and Parker McDonald also back in. And Moore and Rooney are your safeties. 3rd and 3. Nice move. Ken G again. Burnham. Burnin up to the 45 and a first down.
This is a really nice job by Kenji Burnham. Could have easily been a tackle for loss, but on 3rd down, he's able to shift his way out of the defender's path and get another nice gain to keep the sticks moving for this Hayes offense.
CJ O'Neill says of Kenji Burnham, the toughest kid on our team. You mentioned Malloy, the Lions, right? He says he runs like a lion when the ball is in his hands.
And that's really saying something. You know, there's a program that prides itself on toughness, so get that compliment out of CJ O'Neill speaks volumes.
Richie Beelan, once upon a time as a freshman, was a wide receiver catching balls for his brother. And since his sophomore year has been thrown into the fire as this program's starting quarterback.
You want to talk about an all-around football player. We're talking about a guy during his Hayes career who has caught the ball, he's ran the ball, he's thrown the ball, and he's kicked the ball. I don't know what more can you do?
Like, listen, in fantasy, I got Lamar Jackson as a quarterback. I like where I'm at with him. I think you might want to have a little bit of Richie Beelan for all the different aspects that he brings. And there he goes again, tucking it down, cutting it inside, and finally pulled down to the 34-yard line.
Yeah, right there. Just a nice job running behind that vaunted left side of this Hayes O-line behind Jaden Mann, his favorite lead blocker up there, 6'5", 305. And he's just going to real quick get around that edge, use that nice big hole paved open by number 77, and get to the second level.
Yeah, we'll show you some of those O-line guys for Hayes when we get if there is a break in the action. It feels like there is not, as Kenji Burnham Options out to the right. Beelan checks all of his options and takes it himself. Beelan fakes it, and that little fake, that got him another 5-6 yards.
Yeah, so impressive what Beelan's able to do. And just as impressive has been the amount of time that he's getting back there. Been perfectly clean pockets. And if you give Richie Beelan the time to dissect you right there.
Look at his head. He's checking all right.
Hanging out, gets to go through a couple of progressions, doesn't like what he sees, and he can just pull it and
right
really
there.
make it pay. Wow.
Yeah, and that got him a few more extra yards as they're back in the red zone. 1st and 10 from the 13-yard line. You can see all the communication, right, from the guys up front for Hayes. It's Beelan going nowhere.
Really
Cam
nice
I am. Cam Urso with the TFL.
Yeah, Cam Urso, just one of the best weapons on the defensive side of the ball for St. Anthony's. He can really cause chaos in the backfield. And looked like Richie Beelan might be able to wriggle away there for a second, but strong hands on big number 6, so he wasn't getting away.
2nd and 12.
Cam Urso fought through an injury during the early part of this season. Had to be tough for him, but he stayed mentally tough. Came back last week and has been off to the races since.
So a loss of 2 on that play. 2nd and 12 from the 15. Beelan up the middle. What a hole that was created. And Rich Beelan breaks a tackle, and he's in the end zone. 15-yard touchdown for Richie Beelan.
It's really, really, really impressive what Richie Beelan's been able to do out here so far tonight. You know, he's running like he's a 260-pound Brandon Jacobs mold, breaking tackles on almost every play. You see right there, number 33 for St. Anthony's defense. John Drew just unable to bring him down. And another great play as Hayes stays on the field with their offense looking to go for 2.
And this is what we said before, right? When you miss your 2 and then the opponent gets theirs, this is the game. It seems like now the rest of the way. They're going to be chasing those points.
Got Kamari Valentine lined up at H-back on the left side of that line. Look for Richie to follow him to the promised land.
Handoff, Kenji Burnham lowers his shoulder, the extra effort, and the 2-point conversion is good. And again, it is a 1-point game. St. Anthony's with a 23-22 lead.
Yeah, Dylan, you mentioned it early that missed PAT might come back to haunt Cardinal Hayes. It seems to be a real factor early here today as we sit here at 23-22.
We want to thank Malloy University for their sponsorship. Long Island's Malloy University offers more than 50 undergraduate degree programs and is home to one of the premier NCAA Division II athletic programs in the East Coast Conference. Malloy recently introduced sprint football to their athletic offerings, a full-contact varsity sport with the same rules as regular college football, except players must meet a weight limit of 178 pounds. Visit malloy.edu to learn more. So sorry, Kamari Valentine and Blake Beelan.
Yeah, but seems a bit discriminatory against us big boys out there. Like to eat, but really happy for all those guys getting to play some football out there at Malloy University. And you talk about sprint football, well, hey, this game has been nothing but a sprint since the very start at Cy Donnelly Field. We've talked about St. Anthony's and their special teams, the impact that's had on the game so far. Last drive, didn't love the field position they started out with, didn't wind up holding them back, but look for them to get back on track with this kick return unit.
Man, once again, it is Beelan to kick for the Cardinals. A year ago, led their team to their first ever Catholic State Championship.
Took care of business against St. Francis from Buffalo.
A returnable kick from the 20-yard line. And a great return again. Kevin Moore is that man.
Yeah, really nice play right there by Kevin Moore, who's a stud on the defensive side of the ball. You know, he loves a chance to get those kick returns in, get the ball in his hands in open space, and right there making the most of it. Some more great field position for Gary Merrill.
Thanks to Moore. Right there, you see him at the 20-yard line. Good upfield blocking. And Kevin Moore always a threat to bring it back. So it's a 1st and 10 from the 42-yard line. Bala, a couple stutter steps.
And
He
Kamari
heard,
Valentine.
yeah, he heard those big footsteps coming from behind him from Kamari Valentine.
Yeah, what's so impressive is just the force that this guy has off of the ball. When he punches you, as soon as that ball is snapped, you see the offensive lineman snap back about 2 yards into the backfield, and he's been dominating so far today. Big TFL.
Yeah, LIU, Central Connecticut among those chasing big number 99.
And whoever winds up getting him at the next level is going to be very grateful for that.
Loss of 5 on that play. Merrill fake the handoff to Bala, pushes forward, and he'll get a few of those yards back.
Right there, St. Anthony's just said, Kamari Valentine, you're not going to beat us. Hit him with the double team. And all of a sudden, a 3rd down and 9, kind of unfamiliar territory for this Friars offense so far tonight.
Yeah, I want to say unofficially that first
third and long
down, right? First potential conversion here.
Yeah, 3rd and 1 earlier in the game, but first time that they're behind the sticks and really the pressure on the offense right here.
Trips right. You've got Russo, Taylor, and Hart. 3 really good targets.
A lot of Hayes Cardinal fans out here.
And as a result, maybe some of the noise resulted in this timeout for St. Anthony's.
I think also if you're Joe Minucci, you're well aware of how important this 3rd down is here as we're about halfway through our 2nd quarter. The way that Richie Beelan and this Hayes offense has been scoring kind of feels like you got to score every single time you possess the ball. So look for them to get aggressive here, working towards that 1st down.
Friars, you would argue their signature win of the year was up at Columbia University, right? Just 2 weeks ago, winning at Hayes, which is their home field now. And as a result, when the seeding came out the day later or the day after, it is St. Anthony's that was a 2 and Hayes as a 3.
And just the difference between St. Anthony's having to travel up to northern Manhattan to play Cardinal Hayes up at Columbia versus Hayes having to come all the way from Grand Concourse on a Friday night to Cy Donnelly Field. If you're a St. Anthony's fan, you really, really like that turn of events.
3rd and 9 off the timeout. Merrill, plenty of time. Forced out, and he's taken down.
Who else?
Valentine will get credit for that sack.
Kamari Valentine just making his presence known out here in South Huntington. And when you got a nose tackle bringing that kind of pressure in your face, really not much you can do. It looks like he beats the double team right there, splits the double team between Gronwald and McNaughton. And just can't say enough about how impressed I am with number 99 up the middle for Hayes.
Timeout, Cardinal Hayes.
Surprising right there, you know, offense staying on the field, at least for that first look at, 4th and 18 scenario for St. Anthony's.
Well, I think what you did if you're St. Anthony's is you forced Hayes to burn one of those timeouts.
Yeah, if nothing more, well worth it. I wonder if they wind up doing a little pooch kick with Gary Merrill.
But you mentioned
wear many hats.
For sure. You mentioned that game week 9 at Columbia. Merrill was 9 of 11 for 140 yards in that game, a touchdown, had 23 carries for 188 yards and 2 touchdowns, including the winning score with 25 seconds left. He, by the way, added a 2-point conversion, or a pair of them. Bala, 28 carries, 119 yards and a touchdown. James Taylor had 4 receptions for 74 yards and a score. Will Hart also a receiving touchdown for the Friars that night.
Yeah, the thing that stands out the most to me about that stat line is the 9 for 11 number through the air. You know, if Gary Merrill can be that efficient with his arm throughout the course of this day today, with what he can do on the ground, it's really a recipe for success all year long for St. Anthony's.
Well, on the season, 71% completion rate, 17 touchdowns against only 3 interceptions.
So impressive. And, you know, this isn't some sort of West Coast offense. As we saw earlier, they're willing to let Gary Merrill air the ball out downfield. So sitting above 70% completion, that's absolutely elite, especially at the high school level.
So Michael Forrest back to punt for the Friars. Angles it and gets good hang time on it as well. And it will take a big St. Anthony's bounce as well. Nothing for Tyrone Smith to do, but just let it go over his head and hope it doesn't go too far, but it does. A terrific punt by Michael Forrest, which will back Hayes up now to their own 15-yard line.
Yeah, so 85 yards to go for this Cardinal Hayes offense with about 5 minutes of time not a consideration in the half. But really the question becomes, will St. Anthony's be able to get a stop on the defensive side of the ball after you see Cardinal Hayes and their defense step up for the first time all night?
Yeah, so to that point, right, we've seen both offenses go punch for punch. Hayes the first one to get that stop. So now what is the response for St. Anthony's?
First and 10 Hayes from the 15.
Beelan cuts it back inside.
Beelan on the carry.
And a great run. Looks like for about 9, or did he move the chains?
Looks about 9.5 right there. And when they can get that on first down, you know, you're really limited in what you can dial up calling plays for the St. Anthony's defense.
And actually, they will move those chains.
So first and 10 Hayes from the 25.
St. Anthony's defensively this year, they've given up 25 points a game. Hayes has been a little more stout on that end, only giving up 18.6.
St. Anthony's under the Minucci era always likes to score in droves, and sometimes a little bit of struggles on the defensive side of the ball, but going to really need to step up right here.
Beelan over the middle, finds Kenji Burnham, and Burnham with the afterburners.
Yeah, Burnham winds up getting chased down by Moore there, or Danny Rooney.
And Burnham feeling the effects of that, and officials timeout as Burnham is down.
I love this play call right there for that Cardinal Hayes offense. You got a defense that's struggling to defend the running attack from Richie Beelan, so you just run him up to the line, little Tim Tebow action over the top, and the rest is all Kenji Burnham. Let's hope number 1's all right. Such a dynamic threat for Cardinal Hayes.
Danny Rooney caught him from behind. Another lacrosse committed to Maryland for lacrosse, the junior. 16 tackles coming into this game, an interception, and 2 fumble recoveries as well.
That is one of the impressive elements of this St. Anthony's program. Every year, obviously a lot of guys getting recruited on the football side of things, but for the most part, guys who are out there on the field, if they're not playing football at the next level, good chance they're going to be playing some major lacrosse the next 4 years.
There's also a good chance, Pat, you're going to be with me next week at Mitchell Athletic Complex. We know we're there. We booked our spot already. Who will join us for what is always one of the greatest days of the year? Varsity Media Sports Network is your home for the 2024 Catholic High School Football League Championships presented by Maspeth Bank. Should be an outstanding day and evening of football.
Dylan, you know, Thanksgiving week is wonderful for a lot of reasons, but my favorite day of the week is not Thursday, it's the preceding Saturday, where I get to call 3 football games back to back to back with my favorite broadcasting partner.
Beelan whips it downfield, deflected, and very nearly intercepted. That was more in the wheelhouse there for Parker McDonald for a reception than the intended target.
Yeah, and that would have been a really nice one if you're a St. Anthony's fan. Richie Beelan rarely off target as he's throwing the ball downfield, but just a little bit behind his receiver. And Parker McDonald in perfect position, guy who recently came back from injury and doing a nice job out there on the edge.
Second down and 10 from the 31. Flag on the play.
Flag down on the field.
Too many men on the field for Cardinal Hayes.
Too many for Hayes. And those are the kind of penalties that really burn you as a coaching staff.
Exactly. You know, the last thing you want to do as your offense has really got a ton of momentum is get behind the chains here. Now looking at a 2nd down and 15.
Like, this is your, 11th week of a competitive football game. Like, you figure we know who's on and off at this point.
And that's one of the things CJ was talking about going into this week is, you know, they've had a lot of time together, a lot of reps. He feels that they should have ironed out most of the wrinkles at this point.
Rich Beelan pulled down at about the 28-yard line.
And it's just so impressive when you're talking about a guy in Rich Beelan, less than 200 pounds, the amount of lead in his pencil. Oftentimes, you know, when you see quarterbacks running the ball, they're looking to avoid contact at all costs. That's not the case when you're talking about number 3.
Yeah, his is not a number 2 pencil. His is a number 3 pencil.
Oh, yeah.
That's special brand.
Exactly. Ticonderoga.
3rd and 6. So, just like St. Anthony's had, right? A 3rd and long. It's a 3rd and longish for the Cardinals.
Got to assume this is 4-down territory, however, Dylan. Sitting at about the 27-yard line.
Harvey, that lone receiver at the bottom of your screen. Although Burnham now options out of the backfield. Beelan fakes it. What a pass by Beelan. But how about that gang tackling by the Friars? And a flag is thrown as well.
First one there was Nick Shevlin. Really nice tackle up the middle, but nonetheless brings up a big decision for C.J. O'Neill pending this penalty.
Yeah, let's see what the penalty is first. Chris Atchison figuring out what it was.
Looks like an illegal man downfield for Cardinal Hayes.
What do you do? Do you accept it? Then they will. So that was what that conversation was. Do you want to keep it? It's going to go here or it's going to go there. So they will push Hayes back, which is an interesting decision as well because you give now Beelan and his guys another crack at it.
I understand it, though. You know, if you're Joe Minucci, you got to expect that Cardinal Hayes is going to leave their offense on the field for a 4th and about 2. So you send him back, and now 3rd and 12 scenario for Richie Beelan and company.
And a timeout for Hayes with 2:31 left here in this high-octane first half. Want to remind folks, too, to stick around at halftime. Can you smell that here in the press box? Mike's Underground has made its way here. We'll have a food review of Mike's Undergrounds. Of course, Mike's out of Amityville since 1969. Our family at Mike's of Amityville has been serving the local community our own original recipes for delicious food and pizza. Place an order at mikesofamityville.com.
And Dylan, I wish you wouldn't remind me. That tempted me too much seeing that beautiful pizza on the screen. My stomach's been grumbling the whole first half.
And it's been right next to you, and I got to give you a lot of credit, man. You have been laser focused on the action on the field.
I appreciate that. As a former offensive lineman, it doesn't come easy for me. Usually when there's some good food in the room, it's kind of tunnel vision. But, hey, what can I say? There's some great football out here. Got to lock in when 2 juggernauts, the likes of Cardinal Hayes and St. Anthony's, get together.
There you see C.J. O'Neill, a leader of men. What an inspirational guy he is.
Oh,
too,
yeah.
Right? You get him on the phone or you're in his office there.
And newly a Long Islander as well.
Well, he's been on the island. He just moved. Now on Lido Beach. So we know where we're going.
Exactly.
Come like Memorial Day or so. The O'Neill house for some burgers and beach weather. 3rd and 12 now for Hayes. Richie Beelan. Pressure comes his way. Ducks out of it somehow. Points it downfield. Airs it out. Looks deep. End zone. Incomplete, but there's a flag.
Wow.
Now, we could see from our vantage point, Joe
fight.
Minucci, well, he's saying it deflected first, which would mean that all bets are off. Let's take a look.
Let's see this one. This is almost reminiscent of a play that won Cardinal Hayes the Catholic final last year against Iona Prep. Just lofts this one downfield, making things happen with his legs. And I'm not sure if that one was tipped. Really hard to tell.
That was Reed Jones and Parker McDonald. They're kind of jockeying for position. But I think the question was whether it was tipped and another illegal man downfield and a block in the back. Wow.
And the pass interference. Pass interference on the offense right there. You know, typically you don't see that pass interference call made. Reed Jones kind of coming back to the ball, but through the defender. The thing there is both guys have an equal right to that ball. So Reed Jones can't pass interfere there any more than the St. Anthony's defender can with him. And all of a sudden, that 3rd and 6, you blink, and we're sitting here looking at a 3rd and about 25.
Yeah, it's about the length to get from here to Hills West. I feel like you need to get a first down. And we'll be at Hills West.
Another good matchup to look forward to tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow. Great quarterbacks. Joe Filardi, Brady Nash. We'll have that game for you. And a timeout for St. Anthony's. And we take a look, Pat, at sort of their journey to this game. And you can see it started with that week 0 loss to Chaminade and a chance now to reset, right? Like it's St. Anthony's has had Chaminade's number over the last couple of years, and that one that one they took on the chin.
It was their first loss to Chaminade, their fierce rival in 12 years. So you got to imagine that really had to hurt here in South Huntington. But you know what? The mark of a good team is not whether you can get hit or whether you fall down, but whether you can get back up. And since then, it's really been smooth sailing. That win over UPrep, the loss to New Jersey powerhouse Don Bosco Prep, but then the rest of the way there, you see looking pretty good. Lost a tight one at Iona Prep that they'll look to avenge next week should they have that privilege. And then obviously, as you mentioned, the marquee win of the season there, 42-34 at Cardinal Hayes up in Columbia just 13 days ago, and looking to repeat that victory tonight.
And hey, if it's Hayes that makes their way to Mitchell next Saturday, they'll also be looking to avenge a loss to Iona in the regular season. And Iona will be looking to avenge last year's championship loss.
Really impressive, the continued success that Coach Spagnuolo has been able to achieve up there. And as we look at this Hayes schedule for this year, Catholic Memorial, nice win for them, out-of-state team to start off the year. Lost to DePaul Catholic, another top Big North school out of New Jersey. And then kind of hit their stride there. More Catholic, Farrell, and Kellenberg, all wins. The big loss to Iona Prep that they will hope to avenge next week at Mitchell Athletic Complex. A big win over Chaminade. That's probably their biggest win on the season. Took care of Stepanak and then lost to St. Anthony's. Big win over Kellenberg last week and looking to avenge that loss just 13 days ago.
3rd and 27. That was Harvey in motion. And Beelan taken down from behind.
And who else but Cam Urso right there. The dominant senior lineman for St. Anthony's makes his presence felt when they really needed him to step up. And Dylan, we said, when will St. Anthony's finally get off the field and stop this offensive attack?
Oh, a little move by Urso.
A little spin move later. And all of a sudden, Gary Merrill's going to have a chance to extend this lead heading into the half.
That spin move on a Syracuse commit.
Yeah.
And Jaden Mann.
Pretty impressive stuff. And you always got to love when it's good on good like that. We'll be watching that man matchup against Urso all day long.
James Taylor, the lone man deep for St. Anthony's. I know, did we mention again? Beelan? Yeah, he punts as well.
Wow.
Bodie Sabongi.
And just letting that clock drain down.
And did they get the timeout off?
And that's going to be a timeout, Cardinal Hayes. That really, really smart coaching there from C.J. O'Neill, knowing that he has a full play clock to utilize, drips it down to the very minimal amount of time that he can, calls a timeout, and now St. Anthony's going to be working with just around 1 minute left in this half, trying to punch something in a hurry.
They're going to reset there. You see the clock to 1:13. And you could tell, Pat, with all the timeouts here in the last few minutes, just how much every little detail is being put under a microscope for both teams.
Every second's going to matter. For instance, I'm sure right now Joe Minucci is telling James Taylor, no matter what, make sure you catch this ball. We don't want to let it bounce and dribble another 8 to 10 seconds off the clock that we really can't afford right now. And we talk about it, it's all about details once you get into that championship stretch.
And in our conversation with C.J. O'Neal, it was like a lot of the typical things, right? It's hand placement and making sure you get your assignments right, and those little things, they matter in the biggest of games.
And, of course, Richie Beeland putting on a Superman cape.
Oh, yeah, that too. Beeland backs Taylor up, and a really good punt, which will be fielded at the 8-yard line. Cardinal Hayes, last 3 years for the Cardinals. Listen, you had to sort of weather some storms, right? A couple of years ago, Pat, and then because you had a young group. A lot of these guys have been together for the last couple of years, and you see last 3 years for Cardinal Hayes, right? You start 2-8 or 5-6, 2-8, and then you turn it around to 12-2. After back-to-back losses in the quarterfinals, you win a Catholic State championship last year. Yeah,
just so impressive, the character and fortitude of these guys who have been coming up through a program that had hit an uncharacteristic rough spot, for a couple years there. Hayes wasn't quite what we were used to, but due to a couple of these senior leaders here, namely Richie Beeland, all of a sudden Cardinal Hayes right back where they feel they belong, which at the very top of this New York Catholic League.
And you think about it too, right? Derek Lopez, Blake Beeland, Kamari Valentine, they were sophomores starting, right? Blake Beeland was, I think, a freshman starting as well. So
and that's a tough situation. Nobody likes to be out there not winning, but at the same time, C.J. O'Neal planning for the future, got a lot of valuable playing time for a lot of guys who need it. That's really showing up in big spots like tonight.
And considering the field position and the lead for St. Anthony's and the fact I think Hayes gets the ball coming out as well, smart decision, just put a knee down and then go into halftime with a 23-22 lead for St. Anthony's. Well, the two QBs, they've come out and they've balled in the first half as we expected. It has been super entertaining, but Gary Merrill right now has that slight edge over Rich Beeland, and his Friars have a 1-point lead.
Yeah, without a doubt. We saw that missed PAT early in that first quarter for Cardinal Hayes and thought, okay, will this come back to haunt them? So far, that's the case, but Richie Beeland and company getting the ball to start off that second half. And when we come back with some full tummies to some football action on the other side of this, I'm excited to see what we got in store at Cy Donnelly Field.
Yeah, first up, though, it's the Mike's Underground Review. Don't miss that right here on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
Winning ticket is a blue ticket, and the numbers are 758541.
You're watching the Varsity Media Sports Network, the home for New York high school sports.
When it comes to live streaming, Varsity Media does it all. Athletic events, concerts, musicals, graduations, even weddings. Trust Varsity Media when it comes to your live stream event. Contact us today to learn more about Varsity Media's live streaming services at 516-403-2050 or email ben@varsitymedia.net. Did you know Varsity Media now offers action photography for all sporting events? Available for individuals or teams, we'll send dedicated photographers down to field level to capture your best moments. Our rates are affordable and our photos will leave you with lasting memories for a lifetime. Contact us today, mention this ad, and get $25 off your first order. Email ben@varsitymedia.net or call 516-403-2050.
For the latest news in high school sports, be sure to check out varsitymedia.net or follow us on social media at Varsity Media. Varsity Media is now opening up our schedule to any teams looking to be on a sportscast. Watching yourself on camera is okay, but hearing your name on a Varsity Media sportscast is like you're a pro.
And look at this opportunity. Feldman behind. Jersey pulled. Feldman! Feldman!
Here comes the 1-0. Hit on the ground at first. Quinn's up with it. Beats to Varela. It's a no-hitter. And Division's moving on. Nassau County AA champions.
As West barks out the signal. West is going to keep it himself inside the 5 to the goal line. Touchdown. Touchdown, Southside.
Varsity Media offers sportscast coverage for any sport, and our coverage airs live and on demand so everyone can watch the game. Now is the time to be a star on Varsity Media. Contact us to book a sportscast today at 516-403-2050 or email ben@varsitymedia.net.
Welcome back to Cy Donnelly Field. It's halftime here of this Catholic AAA showdown between St. Anthony's and Cardinal Hayes. It is, maybe the best time of the game, for us at least, right?
Listen, I love some top-flight high school football, but it might be a little bit better at halftime just soaking up this Mike's Underground Pizza. So excited.
So, Pat, you know these teams really well, right? We've seen these guys a lot all year. You would describe them as what? Elite, right? Like next level, best in state?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the class of New York State, some would say.
So, of course, we had to supplement that with the best in class with our pizza review here tonight.
Oh, yeah, it's only right. Whether you're from Amityville or anywhere across Long Island, you should be aware of Mike's Underground Pizza. Their reputation precedes them, and we're about to find out why, Dylan.
Yeah, first of all, before we dive in, it's their whole presentation alone is amazing, right? There's certain locations you have to go to. They show up with, it's like the Stanley Cup with gloves and a suit. There's a gazebo in Amityville that you have to go to. It's amazing, the whole presentation. So if you haven't experienced it, you have to experience it at least once. But trust me, you'll want it more once you get that first bite. And we're about to dive in.
Dylan, I'm trying to focus right now, but my mouth's watering. So
yeah, sorry about that, Pat. All right, so we have from on this side, we're going to go from this side down to this way. Right here, we've got our classic pepperoni pie, right? Who doesn't love that? That's like old school classic, right? You have the classic mozzarella pepperoni pie. You got fresh mozz. You got some imported pepperoni from Naples, Italy. So that's your classic pepperoni. Right next to it, this is insane. I've never heard of this on a slice. Cheese steak pie, right? You love cheesesteaks, you love pie. Boom, put them together. You got mozzarella, you got American cheese, topped with fresh aged ribeye, onions, peppers, hot cherry peppers, finished off with a little parsley.
Yeah, moving along, Dylan. Really, really excited to try this Sicilian with vodka sauce right here. You got a crispy ring of mozzarella, topped with mozzarella and vodka, finished with some Parmigiano Reggiano. So really excited to taste this one. And then moving along to the final of the batch, the Mary Jane, absolutely delightful. It's a Detroit-style pizza with vodka sauce, a blend of 3 cheeses, fresh fried chicken cutlets, and topped with pepperoni, ricotta, and hot crispy oil. So no matter what you're looking for, Mike's is bringing the best.
All right, so it was a tough choice here, right? This is do you want Rich Beelan as your starting quarterback? Do you want Gary Merrill as your starting quarterback? It's really hard to make these decisions.
You can't go wrong.
So we have a plethora of options, right? How about we go, you want to go in the middle?
Yeah, I think this vodka slice is really just calling me right here.
All right, I'm going to do a little cheese steak pie. Again, literally never had it. They do have on the side some mayo. I will not go mayo. I love you guys at Mike's, but I think it probably doesn't even need it, to be honest.
Dylan, want to call out this crispy mozzarella ring? I've never seen anything like this before on a slice of pizza. Just that great chewiness. I got to stop talking and start eating,
All right,
I guess.
You ready?
Let's do it.
Let's go. Let's do it.
Oh, my word. Oh, my word. It's going to be tough to focus during the second half of this game, knowing that there's a little bit of leftover Mike's Underground Pizza waiting for us. I got to say, maybe the best slice of vodka-style pizza I've ever had.
And this cheesesteak pie, amazing. Right away, I could taste those cherry peppers, which is such a great, touch to it. But, it doesn't, I think, it's the name of it, right? Obviously, it's a cheesesteak pie, but I feel like it doesn't do it justice. You think of a cheesesteak, you think of the whiz, you think of everything that comes with it. This is outstanding.
It's dynamic. You got the hot peppers on there, too.
Oh, my goodness.
Listen, everybody, I know you're excited for Thanksgiving coming up in just under 2 weeks, but trust me, it might be time for a little bit of remix on that traditional Thanksgiving dinner. Forget the turkey. call up Mike's and go to Mike's Underground because they're going to get you covered no matter what you're looking for.
Yeah, mikesofamityville.com is the website. Thanks so much to Mike's. Bite number 2.
I love you, Mike. I love you. So good.
We're going to take a break. The crew here are going to have some pizza at halftime. When we return, we'll have the second half of this Catholic AAA showdown right here on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
Hey parents, Varsity Media is now offering ISO video of just your athlete. Why settle for the wide angle that shows every player on the field? With our ISO video, your athlete is front and center the entire game. This footage will help in creating highlight videos for college coaches to better pinpoint your athlete's play on the field. Watching our video will help your athlete improve progressively throughout the season and may lead to a college scholarship. Varsity Media is now booking ISO videos for the fall, but spots are limited. Contact us today for football, soccer, field hockey, and volleyball by calling 516-403-2050 or emailing ben@varsitymedia.net.
At Catholic Health, when we see our island, we see a region that lives, feels, and pulses with energy. But before it all, we see you, because it's your lives that breathe life into this island. At Catholic Health, we're able to provide the highest quality, most innovative care for your body, because our culture cherishes your humanity. Long live Long Island.
Hey parents, how about a bobblehead for your athlete? Bobbleheads are one of the most preferred personalized gift items today, and it's so easy to order. All you need is a photo of your athlete, a model number from our extensive collection of bobbleheads, and the sculpting process begins. 2 proofs are sent for your approval, and once it's approved, in a few weeks, your bobblehead is on the way. It's that simple. Order your bobblehead today by logging into varsitymediapass.com and click catalogs or call 516-403-2050.
What's next for you? A bolder, more engaged you. A career-focused you. A you that leads your community and helps change the world. Take the next step and get your bachelor's degree at Malloy with special transfer programs and scholarships and a career-focused curriculum. Malloy makes a nationally ranked private university education attainable and your dream job possible. Malloy University. Welcome to the new you.
High school sports fans, Varsity Media is the exclusive live stream partner of Nassau County Championships. To live stream fall, winter, and spring championship events, head to varsitymediapass.com to order. Now accessible on smart TVs. Varsity Media is your home for the Nassau County Championships.
Are you a local business looking for new and creative ways to promote your company? Varsity Media offers affordable rates that can get your message across to a demographic of 18 to 54 years of age. Our follower base across social media is over 50,000 strong, and our viewership numbers per game are in the thousands. Don't blow your advertising budget on old staples like TV and radio media. Reach out to Varsity Media to get the best bang for your buck.
Halftime here at Cy Donnelly Field in this, the Catholic AAA semifinals. And it is St. Anthony's, the number 2 seed, with a 1-point lead over number 3 seed, Cardinal Hayes. Welcome you back inside the booth. We're pretty full now.
Oh, yeah.
That was great.
Oh, yeah.
Dylan Butler, Pat Godfrey, our entire Varsity Media crew here. And the first half, also, like, as great as Mike's Underground was at halftime, first half lived up to the advanced billing as well.
Oh, my gosh, yeah. We walked in today saying this is probably going to be the game of the year in the New York Catholic League, and it's absolutely lived up to the billing. Seems like whoever has possession of the ball last in this one is going to emerge victorious. So we can see if both offenses can stay as hot as they were throughout the first 2 quarters.
And what you love, too, is it's 2 teams whose marquee guys showed out and did what they've done throughout the season. Richie Beelan, of course, for Cardinal Hayes, and Gary Merrill for St. Anthony's.
There's the old adage, that big-time players make big-time plays in big-time games has been so true today with both Merrill as well as Beelan. Those guys are going to really have to put the team on their back, so to speak. Greg Jennings, little reference to him, if they want to walk and emerge onto the Mitchell Field final next week.
Let's take a look at some of those highlights, and it started out right away for St. Anthony's with Gary Merrill doing his thing. We take a look back. Look at the cutback and the
this
spin.
Right here, the spin move while still getting upfield, just making it look easy right there for number 16. But all day long, whenever he's been able to punch it in, he's had a quick response coming back from the other side with this Cardinal Hayes offense that has really just been hitting on all cylinders all game long. If it weren't for a couple penalties on that final drive of the half, they might have walked into halftime with a touchdown lead, but they do get the ball to start off this second half.
Winner of this one will take on either Chaminade or Iona Prep. The Gales, I don't know what point you would put on it. We're not in the Bet MGM mold here for high school football, but Iona, the home favorite, certainly against Chaminade in that one. So, listen, if Iona wins, really, honestly, in any of that Final Four, I think you're getting a great championship matchup.
Without a doubt, that's one of the best things about watching the AAA division of this New York State Catholic League is there's just so much strength. These programs are deep. They're going to be able to throw out 15, 20, 30 guys who can really hit and play football every single year. And been a lot of fun to watch. I can't wait to see how it shakes up going into next week.
We'll take a look back at the bracket again. In the AAA here, and Iona as the number 1 seed. They earned that by Chaminade had to go out to Staten Island. Never easy to go to the Lions Den, and they grinded out that 14-7-1 really impressive win for Chaminade. And we've spoken to them a few times this year. We've had them on our airwaves, and they're a team that at this point of the year, I think they're a lot better than I think a lot of people thought they would be. I don't know if a lot of people had them in the Final Four, so credit goes out to the Flyers for doing that, but of course they're not celebrating right now.
Without a doubt, Chaminade, they've been really able to manufacture a complete turnaround of that program. Last year only won 1 game, this year coming around and winning 8 of their first 11, but for them it really doesn't matter if it stops now. They have their sights set on a title in this AAA division, but first they got to go up to New Rochelle and go through one of the juggernauts in this league.
And then when the seeds came out, we already were starting to think, oh man, Hayes, St. Anthony's semifinal, of course. You've got to win that on the field, and both of those teams took care of business last week with comfortable wins in the quarterfinals to get to this spot. And again, these two teams, they are no stranger to postseason football. They seem every year. And again, I guess when you're two of the top 4, right, in the Catholic League every year, you're bound to sort of meet somewhere along the lines. Last year it's the quarterfinals, this year it's the semifinals. But there is always seemingly this collision course between Hayes and St. Anthony's.
Without a doubt. Dylan, going into this year, I'm sure both of these programs had their sights set on that 1 seed to lock up that first round bye and home field advantage throughout the playoffs. Both wound up having to play last week, but potentially that benefits these guys. They stay out there, stay getting reps, no rust for either of these teams, and after comfortable wins last week, putting on a great showing out here in South Huntington.
And one thing that we noticed here at halftime, right, was Hayes, they did not go inside. They stayed outside. And the Cardinals, it feels like they've been outside for quite a while, right? When we spoke to C.J. O'Neill, even today, kind of getting a little catch-up. When did you guys leave the Bronx? At 1 o'clock. He had spoken to us about maybe trying to find, like, one of these great Italian restaurants here, maybe on 110 or, right, somewhere in the neighborhood to bring his hungry guys. They never, I guess, found that restaurant to feed all his guys, so they went in true football fashion and had a little tailgate in the parking lot.
Exactly, just a little quick bite to eat before this game, but as they say, hungry dog hunts best, and I love seeing a football team really rally around their leader, and this team really mirroring C.J. O'Neill, who never gets cold, wearing shorts into December sometimes if the schedule calls for it. So these guys have stayed out here, and a chilly one here in South Huntington, but certainly no signs of them being cold once they hit the field and the ball is snapped.
And this all part of an exciting weekend here in the Catholic High School Football League. It is the semifinals. in the AAA, in AA1, and AA2 as well. And we'll show you the schedule now of these teams all trying to get themselves into the final. And, of course, including tonight, two other games tonight, Fordham and St. Joe's C, and Mount and Xaverian. Those are both tonight. And then you got Moore Catholic tomorrow afternoon against St. Peter's, a battle of Staten Island powerhouses. Moore Catholic, they've been in that game for, the last 3 years, falling just short. St. Peter's really trying to have a magical season for their head coach. That would be a terrific story if they're able to get to the final and win it. Kennedy Catholic and Holy Cross. As you mentioned before, too, that Mount St. Michael's Xaverian game, a rematch of last year's championship game. That was a great game as well. Won by the Mount. Mario Valentini's final game as head coach. Literally carried off the field. A magical moment there on the Rose Hill campus of of Fordham University.
Without a doubt. You know Mount St. Michael would absolutely love to repeat, but similar to Cardinal Hayes, they know that no matter what happens this weekend, they got more football to play, getting back together for another incarnation of that legendary Turkey Bowl that they play each and every year. Cardinal Hayes getting the better of it, obviously, for the past few years, but Mount, very respectable program in their own right, chasing a title.
And for years and years, you got guys like Gary Aqua for Mount St. Michael, and that, for a couple of years, too, that was a lower division championship game with Hayes and Mount St. Michael battling there on Thanksgiving Day. You would have huge crowds there on Murdoch Avenue in the Bronx. And it was a series that did go both ways for many years, but obviously Hayes, as they've moved up their program for once, a AA2 program up to AA1, and now a perennial AAA powerhouse. Obviously, Mount has had some lean years, so that game hasn't been as competitive as in previous years. But you go back, how about 2009, Mount St. Michael won the championship game. So that was when they play on the championship, they moved that then to that Thanksgiving Day game, the Turkey Bowl. Mount won that one 28-22. 2013, it was Hayes beating Mount in that one as well. So Hayes, it's interesting. They're one of the few programs that have championships at all three levels. And also they have championship game losses at all three levels as well.
Yeah, so impressive. Really just speaks to what C.J. O'Neill has been able to do through the years in building this program. He's a Mount St. Michael's alumni, so I'm sure it really is special for him anytime he can emerge victorious on Thanksgiving Day. But this Hayes team still has a state championship, a repeat in their sights, but going to have to go out here and execute all second half in one of the most challenging environments in all of New York Catholic football.
That's one of the other great things about this Catholic high school football league. You have two incredible Thanksgiving Day battles, Turkey Bowls, Hayes and Mount, of course, always up in the Bronx. And then you alternate for Fordham Prep and Xavier, those two Jesuit schools. They've just played their 100th year of that competitive Thursday morning game. That was up at Fordham's Rose Hill campus last year. They'll be at Aviator Sports Complex this Thanksgiving. Opening kickoff, DiGregorio fielded at about the 19, and then the turf monster comes up, and a promising return was cut short for Antoine Harvey.
Yeah, so not going to be great field position coming out the gates for Cardinal Hayes, but that certainly didn't hold them back throughout the first half. Really important for St. Anthony's to get their tackling right here in this second half. A lot of missed tackles throughout the first half where they really struggled to get off the field. Things trending in the right direction at the halftime for them. We'll see if they can keep that positive momentum going on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, Rich Beelan, a pair of touchdown rushes in the first half. They also had a handoff. Sincere Darrell took it to the house. And here's Beelan, a little juke, a little stutter step, and to kick it to the outside for the first down run.
He does a really nice job just being patient right there behind your zone. Wait for something to open up and then cut back right behind man. And you'll see right here, just see that big hole open right up in between Jaden Mann and Philip Ramdas. Ramdas a 300-pounder in his own right. So impressive, the size up front for Cardinal Hayes, averaging around 280 pounds per lineman.
Here's Beelan, 1st and 10 from the 40, broke a tackle, and he gets another first down run, and that's, again, one of the 3 keys that Joe Minucci pointed out was tackling. It is, like, it sounds super easy, right? But, like, it is incredibly important when you have Rich Beelan running the football.
Yeah, up here in the booth as analysts, sometimes we like to make the game a little bit more complicated than it truly is, but blocking and tackling 99% of the time is going to win the day. Right now, Richie Beelan breaking tackles like it's his job.
First down for Cardinal Hayes on the St. Anthony's 45. Beelan off his back foot, sidearms it, trying to find Reed Jones, and that is an incomplete pass. And Cardinal Hayes actually chasing their first lead of the game.
2nd and 10 from the 45.
Four wide receiver set right here for Cardinal Hayes.
And Sincere Darrell, the lone running back, he is to Beelan's left hip. Beelan back to pass. Look out, the rush comes his way, and Beelan's eaten up.
Beelan is sacked.
Really nice play. First one in there is Julian Kosha, the middle linebacker, senior from Elwood. Steps up and does a great job. He's a little bit undersized, but he's one of the smartest guys out there in this defense. They're going to send him right up here on an A-gap blitz. He's in Beelan's face in an absolute hurry, and this time Beelan's not getting away amidst a host of St. Anthony's defenders, including Urso and Charzuk.
Yeah, those guys are like, hang on, we got you. We got to make sure we wrap this guy up. A 3rd and 19 now as the Cardinals are on the other side of midfield. Beelan, there's that quick out. You loved it earlier, and now you get a playmaker in the space, but now the gang tackling comes. Great pursuit of the football by a host of Friars.
Looks like Dixon Charzuk was ultimately the Friar to bring him down. And that's really what St. Anthony's needs. Some good gang tackling on back-to-back plays right there to get off the field to open this second half. Exactly what Joe Minucci was looking for coming out of the locker room, and now going to give Gary Merrill an opportunity to extend this lead.
So Rich Beelan back to punt. Deep for the Friars is James Taylor. It is
Beelan on the punt.
Bodhi Sabanji as the long snapper. Beelan gets it off. A high punt. Fair catch is called. And a good job just catching that one as well, making sure there wasn't a bounce behind, and Hayes getting some big numbers. We mentioned the last 3 years for Cardinal Hayes. Well, for St. Anthony's, like Cardinal Hayes, in these past 3 years, you celebrated championship like you've done for so many years before, and there you see it. A year ago, you lost in the semifinals, and the state championship as well before that. As the Friars, 15 AAA championships. No team has done it like these guys have.
Yeah, you know, St. Anthony's been a blue blood in this league for a very long time, but similarly to Cardinal Hayes, they had kind of a period where they're looking to find their identity in the post-Rich Reichert era with the arrival of Joe Minucci in town and him building out his program. They're back to their winning ways. But at St. Anthony's, anything short of a title is considered a failure, so they're going to look to finish off what they started over the next 2 weeks.
Merrill gets into open space. Gary Merrill kicked it to the outside, turns it inside, and he gets carried literally out of bounds, and some extracurriculars by that Cardinal Hayes bench. Now you want to protect that QB at all costs.
Without a doubt, you'll see Gary Merrill right here doing such a good job, just find a little soft spot in the D, tiptoeing down the sideline, and then, yeah, you'll see a host of Hayes defenders trying to wrap him up out of bounds, saying, hey, you're not getting away scot-free yet again right here.
1st and 10 from the St. Anthony's 46 and a flag, and I think it was Bala in motion. And there you see Chris Atchison with the call.
little procedural mistake, but when you're talking about the narrow margins that both these teams have to work with, only a 1-point game right now, every little penalty can add up.
First and 10, or first and 15 from the 40.
First and 15 from the 39. Here's Merrill. You know what you love? I mean, listen, there's a lot of things to love about Gary Merrill, right? But one of the things I think that we just saw there, what you love, is he just runs so hard, right? There's no, like, sort of tiptoeing and let me get to. No, he explodes when he knows that he's going to make a big run.
No doubt. You know, we've been praising Richie Beelan for his ability to lower his shoulder and bring the hurt when he needs to, but Gary Merrill, the absolute same thing, never avoiding contact, but fighting for that extra yard.
We saw in the first half Tyrone Smith sort of get bowled over, and that was a great job by Smith there, getting on Gary Merrill's legs and making the tackle. Sets up a 2nd and 3. Merrill over the middle. Oh, a big collision, and now an interception down this near sideline. Can it be returned to the house? What a tackle from behind, but a huge INT for Cardinal Hayes. It's Jaden Biggio.
What a play right here for the senior free safety. Just a little tip ball drill, as this one, I believe, is intended for James Taylor over the middle. Gary Merrill throws it into traffic. His receiver gets blown up at the point of contact, and then Biggio does a great job on the return. I think our officiating team might have missed a little bit of a hold right there.
Well, I don't know if they missed it. There is a flag.
Down the line. All right, didn't miss it.
Come on.
As we said,
we told you how great this
in the
crew
business,
is.
Dylan. Nothing gets past those guys, so that's going to ultimately bring that one back, hold around the 35-yard line or so. So Hayes will probably be starting with the ball around the 50, which isn't what the Hayes faithful wanted to hear, but nonetheless a huge momentum swing and another opportunity for Richie Beelan to take this lead.
Yeah, first turnover of the game. So now let's see if Cardinal Hayes can get something positive out of this one. Again, they've trailed from the very beginning a couple times by 2 scores.
Always had a feeling, though, this one was going to be tight through the stretch, so an opportunity for Hayes to capitalize on that positive momentum from their defense, finally settling in here at Cy Donnelly Field and giving their O a chance to get out in front of this one.
1st and 10 from 49, and I think Joe Minucci wants some clarification, or he wants the ball back. That's what he wanted.
One thing worth keeping an eye on, you'll see right on the right side of that line at an H-back position is big number 99, Kamari Valentine.
You want I know you want in the worst way for him to carry that football. Here's Ken G. Burnham. Good to see him back in. Went down late in that first half, but he's back in, and a really positive 8-yard gain on 1st down.
Yeah, really nice job right there on the gap scheme. They're just going to have number 99 blocked down and run right off his hip, as they did once again.
And there is Burnham moving the chains, and you'll love this offensive line as we take a look at the big boys up front for Cardinal Hayes, Pat, and look at the size on these guys as well.
Yeah, 305, 316, 255, 295, and 245. That's closer to my offensive line size at Clemson than it was to my offensive line size at Harborfields.
And then like an asterisk to that, you add a 6-foot, 317-pound H-back and Kamari Valentine.
Really nice play right there by Julian Kosha, who's having himself a nice half of football. Start off this second.
Yeah, Kosha, the senior, the Mike linebacker, started a year ago as well. Missed some time due to injury. Little undersized, right? 5'11", 220, but terrific heart. Great football IQ as well. 2nd and 10 for Cardinal Hayes. Handoff up the middle, and again, the defense steps up.
It's Danny Rooney and Charzak right there. Dixon Charzak, gotta love the big man inside, getting fired up. He's having himself a really nice third quarter as well. And once again, Cardinal Hayes back behind the chains. Third and long scenario. Hasn't worked out great the last couple of drives. We'll see if Richie Beelan can dial up some magic.
Charzuk's like, listen, I'm tired of you talking about their O-line. I'm coming up the middle on these guys at 6'3", 290 myself.
Lot of beef up front in this game, but you can expect nothing less when two heavyweights in the AAA division showdown.
3rd and 11. Crowd here at Cy Donnelly Field on its feet. Fake handoff. Beelan backs up. He could throw it a country mile. Sends it deep into the back of the end zone. Incomplete with Reed Jones, the intended target. I think Reed Jones somewhere out on Wolf Hill Road about this point.
Yeah, really nice coverage by a couple different St. Anthony's defenders. Look like Parker McDonald was D'd up against Jones. Top target for Richie Beelan. An interesting decision right here for C.J. O'Neill. You know, it's 4th and 11, so typically you'd think to punt, but at only the 37-yard line, you're not really putting yourself in too bad of a spot on defense if you're unable to convert. So looks like Hayes is going to leave that offense on the field.
But again, too, right, Richie Beelan, he's your punter. So you could even pooch it here and probably get some field position. And you know what you did? You forced a timeout. Or at least Hayes called a timeout to talk things over here.
And I wouldn't be surprised if Cardinal Hayes gets aggressive right here. They've got ultimate faith in their offense and their signal caller. And it would be huge to get a score here if you're a Cardinals fan. The fear is if you give the ball back to Gary Merrill, we've seen them a couple times previously extend this out to a 2-score game by a 2-point conversion.
A year ago, Cardinal Hayes 12-2. They beat Iona Prep in that thrilling championship game that we had on the Varsity Media Sports Network, 30-29. Then they beat St. Francis 40-22 to win their first Catholic State championship. Some guys that have gone on now and playing in college. Kenneth Antoine at Marist, Cleveland Charlton, of course, had that winning touchdown reception in the back of the end zone. He's at Towson. Mike Dunn was a fixture on that offensive line, now at LIU. Abdul Ba at New Haven. And then the question is, right, what do you do after that? And a lot of these guys, yeah, there's guys who return, but there's guys who were younger moving up. And, you know, how do they deal with adversity? That's been one of the question marks this year.
The other angle is always easier hunting than being hunted. They're sitting at the top of the mountain. Everyone's been circling Hayes on their schedule all year long and getting everybody's best shot. No different out here tonight.
4th and 11 from the 38-yard line. Cortez was in motion. Beelan steps up. He's got to run. Beelan angles it to the outside, tries to turn it back upfield, twists and turns, and he is stopped short of the first down marker.
That's a great job right there by John Drew. He's playing a little spy over the middle. Beelan thought that he had the angle to get to the sticks, but you'll see number 33 sitting right there over the middle, going to take a great angle here. And then just wait, number 36, forgive me, that's Dave McHugh doing a great job. And then a whole host of Friars coming over to ensure that Beelan falls just short. Dave McHugh, a junior, 5'10", 170-pound linebacker out of Kings Park, who's got some really good speed sitting there in that spy position.
And now after these two teams exchange scores, now they exchange turnovers. That's Merrill. Probably his shortest run of the day.
You know, Dylan, after that first quarter and a half of football or so, I think we were beginning to question if anybody was going to make a stop on defense out here today. Well, don't look now, but we've been going on about 12 minutes of football, no scoring changes.
Yeah, this was your score at halftime. And so much of it was actually the first quarter. Like, it was a wild first quarter. Hand off to the right side.
That's some real physical running right there from Bala, forgive me.
Yeah, Xavier Bala, big size sophomore. You'll love 6 foot 210, right, out of a 10th grader. And some words as well for he and Valentine.
Yeah, Bala was an All-American freshman and getting some big-time college interest. He's got offers from Bowling Green, Rutgers, and Syracuse, and easy to see why the way he's running out here tonight.
Fake handoff. There goes Merrill trying to lower the shoulder. And look at the resistance. I think Lossman was the first one in, 33. But did he get enough for the first down? He did.
Some nice running right there by Gary Merrill, knowing exactly where the sticks are, getting north-south, and setting up a new set of downs.
First and 10 Friars from the 40.
So 1st and 10 from the 40. Merrill fakes the handoff, looks downfield, airs it out, has a man downfield, and it's dropped in and out of the hands of Moore. Oh, excuse me.
Smith was in coverage for Cardinal Hayes.
Yeah, it was Kevin Moore.
Kevin Moore usually not playing a ton on the offensive side of the ball, but able to get wide open right here. Underthrown by just a hair and gives Tyrone Smith the opportunity to get back to the ball and break it up right as that gets there.
A great job there by Smith, right? Just getting in and trying to jar that ball loose. 2nd and 10 from the 40. Bala on the handoff up the middle. Listen, we talked about the O-line for Hayes. There's some big dudes for St. Anthony's as well, trying to plow some land there and create some holes.
Billy Dowling, stellar left tackle. We've been watching him his whole career, and it's been an absolute pleasure. Gronveld, McNaughton, Ortiz, and Bryce Chanquelli following in his older brother Carson's footsteps. Yet another great offensive lineman.
These are big guys who live in Oakdale.
Don't
get mixed up. I don't want to have to see those guys at 7-Eleven or something. And as Merrill, flag on the play, and you would suspect this one would come back, but you're right. Bryce following in his brother's footsteps, literally on that offensive line as well. So Atchison, I think this was a hold on the offense.
You know, Dylan, I'm currently taking Italian lessons, so I really can't explain that mess up on Chanchuli. I got to know that the C is a CH.
That's okay. It's all good. And there is the call, the hold on the offense.
So he's going to set up a 3rd down and long as both these defenses really dig their heels in here in this 3rd quarter. One of the few obvious passing scenarios that Gary Merrill has been thrown into out here today as St. Anthony's lines up with trips left.
Merrill goes that way. Tucks it under, chased. Back the other way. Great block as well. Can you get one more? You do get another block. And again, getting something out of nothing. But that was thanks to a pair of really good blocks.
Yeah, really can't say enough about the coverage downfield. Gary Merrill had his eyes fixed downfield for about 10 seconds, but that secondary, Cardinal Hayes, winds up holding up. He's looking to make something happen, as you see big number 75, Billy Dowling, with a good block. Another really nice block here by Bala to open things up, but St. Anthony's going to be about 7 yards short, 6 yards short here, going into 4th down.
And it would appear they are going to go for it here.
Gutsy decision.
Merrill. Flag on the play. Merrill towards that 1st down marker. Ducks just past it. But this one, again, should come back. Expect this to be again against the offense.
Penalties having a real big impact out here in this 2nd half for St. Anthony's. Whenever they seem to get a little something going right there, almost converted to 4th down, but this one's coming back, and I'd expect Joe Minucci to send out the punt team.
And they will do just that. Michael Forrest will punt for St. Anthony's, Mikey Riley. So they were going to go, and then obviously ended up changing that plan. So Nick Zenk is your long snapper for St. Anthony's. And there you see Michael Forrest.
Big opportunity for Forrest to flip the field.
End over end. Fielded at the 31-yard line cleanly by Harvey. Good special teams tackle.
Looked like Anthony Kenner, the senior from Carl Place, flying up and making a really good tackle in open space. So once again, an opportunity for these Cardinals on offense to take the lead. Things have slowed down a little bit on the offensive side of the ball for both teams here in this third quarter, but you're never too far from a big explosive play when Richie Beelan's running out there on the field.
Yeah, let's see what offensive coordinator Duffy Brennan has lined up here. Second season as the OC for Cardinal Hayes. 1st and 10 from the 45-yard line, or 40-yard line. And a lot of flags thrown here in this third quarter.
Dylan, the crowd starting to become a bit of a factor. The St. Anthony's faithful were getting loud right there. Wonder if that caused the pre-snap penalty.
Full start, says Chris Atchison. Back him up 5.
Last thing you want coming off the sideline is to start off with a 1st and 15.
Beelan finds an intended target on the far sideline. And not much there for Antoine Harvey.
There's a really nice tackle out there by Kevin Moore. Flying up there. Tackling been a lot better for St. Anthony's over the course of the past few drives. They're doing a good job gang tackling. Nobody watching the ball, but everybody flying to it.
Quick out again to Harvey. He's got blockers up the field, but he's tracked down from behind.
Yeah, that was Nick Shevlin, senior out of Hicksville, who's playing their Sam linebacker spot, doing a really nice job.
All right, Friar fans, let's make some
Yeah, Shevlin came in to this game with 40 tackles on the season. And is a 3rd and 5 for Cardinal Hayes inside the final 2 minutes of this third quarter. Beelan up the middle. That's how you tackle a Rich Beelan. Who is that on the grounds?
Looked like John Drew once again wound up making the tackle right here.
Well, I think it was 21 Kelton on the grounds who got him by his legs.
Perfect defensive play call right there for St. Anthony's. Dialed up some A-gap pressure, which is the perfect antidote to a Richie Beelan draw.
So that penalty right away kind of pushed Hayes back, and now Richie Beelan will have to punt. Sabanji is your long snapper.
Beelan on the punt.
Taylor is deep for the Friars. Beelan steps up, and a fair catch is called and caught by Taylor. So here we go, inside the final minute now of this third quarter. A quarter that's been just largely just field position back and forth.
Yeah, St. Anthony's starting in the exact same field position as they started off their last drive, and who would have thunk it after the fireworks we saw to start this game that both these defenses would settle in, showing a lot of character out here.
Winner of this one takes on either Iona Prep or Chaminade in the Catholic AAA Championship game at Mitchell Athletic Complex a week from tomorrow. That game will be live on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
Both teams out here tonight would love to have some revenge against the Gales from New Rochelle.
So you're giving Chaminade no chance, is what you're saying.
I was about to say that St. Anthony's would love nothing more than a rematch.
Merrill kicks it to the outside. Nice run on first down.
Run out of bounds by Garcia. And that's good.
And, you know, I think if you're St. Anthony's, it really just comes down to, on this drive, staying on schedule. The last couple drives, they've been hit with some costly penalties, got behind the sticks, and really limited the play calling options. If you give yourself the full repertoire of this offensive scheme, you can really inflict some damage.
Merrill goes back the other way.
Merrill on the carry.
And this time a host of Cardinals pushing backwards and some additional pushing and shoving there.
It's a nice job by the St. Anthony's offensive line right there. Just run a little zone scheme, and when you got a patient back behind you who can find the holes like Gary Merrill, it works like beauty.
So we'll have 3 quarters in the books. It is all to play for. 1 point is the difference. St. Anthony's up by 1. A trip to the Catholic League Championship game is to be determined in the next 12 minutes. You're watching it all right here on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
You're watching the Varsity Media Sports Network, the home for New York high school sports.
What's next for you? A bolder, more engaged you. A career-focused you. A you that leads your community and helps change the world. Take the next step and get your bachelor's degree at Malloy with special transfer programs and scholarships and a career-focused curriculum. Malloy makes a nationally ranked private university education attainable and your dream job possible. Malloy University. Welcome to the new you.
Welcome back to Cy Donnelly Field. Dylan Butler, Pat Godfrey, our entire Varsity Media crew. And Pat, this is what it all comes down to. 4th quarter, 1-point game between St. Anthony's and Cardinal Hayes.
And Dylan, these guys have been working towards this goal of winning a Catholic League championship since January. It's a long off season, but these are really the moments that you're thinking about as you're going through weights, as you're going through summer conditioning. What am I going to do in November when it matters most?
Merrill eludes the first tackle,
Merrill on the carry.
and that's what he does. And he really, both of these quarterbacks do that, right? If you can avoid that first contact, generally you're making a big run, and that's what Merrill did there. You saw the first guy that was trying to chase him was Derek Lopez.
Without a doubt, you know, just so hard to bring down an open space. You know, he could juke you out of a phone booth, and right there does so to Lopez, who barely gets a hand on him. And, you know, just keep moving in the right direction. That's another set of downs for St. Anthony's. Staying on schedule. This is exactly what you want if you're calling plays.
And in the first matchup in the regular season, C.J. O'Neill said it felt like St. Anthony's had the ball the entire 4th quarter. Merrill again. Look at the explosive run up the middle. Gary Merrill cuts it to the outside. Another first down run for the St. Anthony's QB.
Yeah, getting some really nice downfield blocking from a whole host of guys right there. And Gary Merrill just continuing to tote the rock. Really nice play fake right there, keeping him honest. And then just slipping a whole host of tackles. And it's not until the 3rd Cardinal gets on him that he's finally brought to the ground.
1st and 10 from the 38-yard line. We set a steady diet of Merrill and Bala running the football. We've seen that. It's Merrill again, going right at the big boys of Cardinal Hayes.
The challenge of trying to account for this Cardinal Hayes defensive line is, you know, it's kind of a pick your poison. So right there, they double-team Kamari Valentine, and who do you have to worry about then? Big Blake Beelan, Georgia Tech commit, making the tackle.
But you get 3 yards. And you continue to move this clock. 2nd and 7 now from the 35-yard line. Bala bounced off a bunch of Cardinals, gets this secondary, and gets a first down.
Dylan, I can't for the life of me understand how Xavier Bala comes through the other side of this. Looked like Beelan and Kamari Valentine had him dead to rights at the line of scrimmage, but just lowers his shoulder, somehow slips through right there.
It was like a car crash, and all of a sudden he just comes out of the middle of it.
Eventually Joshua Lossman able to get him down.
There's Bala again. Once again, cuts it inside.
On the carry.
Good run for Xavier Bala on first down.
And when Xavier Bala gets going, that's when things really open up for Gary Merrill. All of a sudden, the defense has to be highly concerned about what number 8's going to do. Those play fakes become that much more effective.
And then when you throw all the running at him, then you can maybe throw it to a Will Hart or a James Taylor, right?
Exactly.
So that's why this offense puts up the numbers that it does. 2nd and 1. Bala again. Oh, Losman, but did he get the extra push to get the first down?
Losman with the stop.
Looked like Losman had him for a tackle for loss, but a little late surge for Bala.
I think it felt like he was
going to make this one close.
Turned the wrong way. We're going to have a measurement on it, but here it is again. Watch the tackle by Losman.
Really nice job at number 33 getting in there in a hurry.
Like he turned
Getting
him
off the block.
Instead of turning him back the other way, he kind of turned him into the momentum that Bala was already running into.
And got to say, Bala, just a sophomore at 6 foot, 210 pounds, is running with some authority right there.
All right, so here we go. Our first measurement of the semifinal.
This one's going to be close.
Just short.
And that's about an index card short right there.
That was the edge of your Mike's Underground pizza there, the crust. And now a 4th and 1.
Wow. Just a...
excuse me, a 3rd down and 1.
What a huge play right here. Couple good options to dial up, and got to expect this to be 4-down territory, but Joe Minucci doesn't want to let it get to that.
Yeah, you got your big boys. Merrill looks to follow those big guys, and he does just that. As soon as he went right behind center, right behind Ryan McNaughton, you knew you were going to get the push forward.
And you're stymied originally, but he's able to slip in right behind Jack Ortiz, the right guard, late on this one. And that final surge, I think, got him the first down.
So 1st and 10 from the 11. Here's Merrill. Still on his feet, Gary Merrill! Touchdown, St. Anthony's!
Gary Merrill putting on his best Lamar Jackson impression out here tonight. Dazzling us with his feet all night long, and right here, he's going to run into some traffic right off the play fake and somehow squirm through the tightest of holes. Break a final tackle right there from the would-be Cardinal defender and march on into the end zone. Looks like right here we're going to see yet another 2-point conversion try from the St. Anthony's offense, hoping to extend this lead out to 9 points, which would be 2 scores.
I feel bad. Becca Kazak did all this great work on showing you all the kickers and holders and long snappers, and everyone's going for 2 tonight. So here we go. Merrill follows Bala. Bala, a great block on the edge, but maybe A little too much hands for Xavier Bala. Merrill runs in, but the flag was right at the corner of that end zone.
Yeah, this is an admirable job by Xavier Bala, but unfortunately for him, looks like his hand just wound up outside the framework of the Hayes defender, being Brandon Garcia. Or, forgive me, it's actually Sincere Darrell. That was held right there, but that's a tough one for St. Anthony's and really changes up the calculation if you're trying to figure out what to do right here. You know, all of a sudden looking at a 2-point conversion try from about 13 yards out. Got to wonder if Joe Minucci's going to change it up, send the kicking team, but looks like his offense is going to stay on the field.
Yeah, this is, too, it's a chilly evening in South Huntington, but the wind not a factor.
And they'll leave the offense out there. Hey, you know, I guess from their perspective, you want to be up by 2 scores. Got to make it happen.
2-point try. St. Anthony's still going for 2.
Merrill flushed out, still on his feet, taken down. So the Cardinals get the stop on the 2-point conversion, and that's St. Anthony's lead now 29-22.
So with about 8:18 left, Richie Beeling going to have another opportunity to come down, potentially tie this one, potentially take the lead, depending on what they...
Mitchell Athletic Complex. Likely triple header next Saturday. I think we're starting around 10 in the morning.
Dylan, you know, if it was a quadruple header, quintuple header, the more football, the better. All day long, Varsity Media Sports Network. All you got to do at home is kick your feet up, relax, and enjoy the best that New York Catholic football has to offer.
So to reset, 29-22, the lead for St. Anthony's. 8:18 left in regulation time. Liam DiGregorio to kick off for the Friars. Fumbled and picked up at the 1-yard line. You have to get out of the end zone.
And a disastrous kick return right there for Cardinal Hayes.
Courtney Simmons was in all kinds of trouble there.
And wow, what a big play. We always talk about special teams being a third of the game. I sound like I'm beating a dead horse sometimes that, hey, an early PAT that didn't go well for Cardinal Hayes is the reason they've been down by 1 for a large portion of this game, and now down by 7. Their backs are up against the wall, coming out of their own end zone, looking to tie this one up.
1st and 10 from their own 2-yard line.
1st and 10, Cardinal Hayes from their own 2.
One thing we know for sure, right? Danny Frazier and Rich Beelan have to be on the same page here. You need to get this snap off perfectly.
No doubt. Can expect St. Anthony's try and dial up some pressure here so long as they've got Hayes coming out of their own end zone.
Flag as well, right away.
You know, Dylan, they're coming out of the end zone that happens to be right next to the St. Anthony's student section, so noise an even bigger factor right here for them right now.
If this is against Hayes, you'll have to go back a yard.
Might only be a 1.5 yard penalty once assessed, but...
Or is it the other way? Chris Atchison checking, and they will wave this flag off. So we'll just redo 1st down from the 2.
They picked up the penalty, so nothing on that play.
I'd expect C.J. O'Neill to dial up something conservative here. Let Richie Beelan clear through the middle, get a little bit of breathing room.
And it goes to Beelan. He's pushed backwards, though. His forward momentum. I think he's still at the 2 or the 3, but Charzuk, man.
Dixon Charzuk, have yourself a day, kid. I mean, he's been banged up all year, fighting through some injuries, but really giving it his absolute all out here right now. All 290 pounds up the middle, filling a void that Preston Carey left when he went down to IMG Academy this year, and not skipping a beat right there for the senior, blowing things up.
And kind of like all game long, it feels like we've said, Urso and Kosha then in on the help as well. Beelan gets out of the end zone, gets towards the sideline, breaks a tackle. And it's pulled down at about the 25-yard line.
Yeah, ultimately brought down by Parker McDonald, but just such a big run right here for Rich Beelan. Give themselves some breathing room and get this drive out the gates. Just going to follow Kamari Valentine. You see a big pancake block right there from Kevin Mann, little brother of Jaden Mann. What a job right there to get out of trouble and give some life to this Hayes offense.
1st and 10 from the 25-yard line for Cardinal Hayes. Beelan back to pass. Plenty of time. He has a cannon for an arm and a lot of contact downfield. And the official on that far sideline says incomplete. Parker McDonald and Smith, they were jockeying there, Pat.
Yeah, Dylan, we're standing right next to the Hayes faithful who are not happy that the official elected to keep the flag in the pocket right there. But as you'll see, McDonald is going for the ball. So you do have a right to get there. And ultimately, I like the fact they let him play.
2nd and 10 from the 25-yard line. Trips left or right on your screen. Beelan goes the other way. Curls around some pressure and doesn't get a whole lot.
John Drew doing a really good job there.
Along with Emmerich.
Drew's had himself a really nice second half. Like the broader St. Anthony's defense, but going to have to buckle down here on 3rd down. Huge play for this Cardinal Hayes offense.
3rd and 5 for the defending Catholic League champions. Inside of 6 minutes remaining in regulation time. Beelan, Antoine Harvey fumbles the football. It's loose, and it looks like St. Anthony's has it.
What a play right there.
They do.
Looks like he's ultimately recovered by Kevin Moore, who's fired off coming off the field, but let's see this one right here. Got Harvey out there in open space, ball like a little potatoes, and Cam Urso.
Urso forced it. And there you see Moore, right? Looks like he's in there.
Going into this, we said it was going to be about detail. It was going to come down to offensive execution, and that right there, ball, a little bit of too much space, like a loaf of bread, and can't let that happen when you got big Cam Urso barreling down in pursuit. What a play, and St. Anthony's offense with a chance to put this one in the books right here.
And Pat, Urso has missed so much of this season, his senior season, right? And since his return, man, he has been a man possessed. He returned for that regular season game against Hayes. Perhaps no coincidence, the Friars won that one. Here's Merrill, cuts it inside. And now you got to think, right, with 5:30 remaining, St. Anthony's leading, you do want to utilize that clock, much like they did last time they met up at Columbia.
Yes, E.J. O'Neill lamented to us the fact that it felt like they barely touched the ball throughout the 4th quarter last time they met. Well, another opportunity here for St. Anthony's to bleed some clock, to dominate time of possession down the stretch. And if you're a St. Anthony's Friar, punch this one in and punch your ticket to Mitchell Field next week.
The last time St. Anthony's was there, they won the championship. Dante Torres and KJ Duff and Ian Strong led the way on that evening.
You guys who you can watch on Saturdays doing big things.
Here's Merrill. Merrill, he has a blocker upfield. Keep that clock going as Merrill kicked it to the outside before finally getting pulled down by Biggio.
Yeah, looked like it might have actually been Ethan Bramoff on the tackle right there. But nice job by Merrill keeping that clock running. Got to love the awareness of the quarterback down the stretch, and big 3rd and 1.
3rd and 1 from the 26-yard line. Merrill kicks it to the outside. He'll get the yard he needed. Need some help now. Let's tuck that shoulder pad back in.
And boy, you know, you want to talk about a display of heart. You know, Malloy is sponsoring us, the heart of a lion. Out here is Gary Merrill, just continually toting the rock, running with conviction, and doing his best to put the team on his back all the way to a title appearance in this AAA division.
Merrill. And now the big boys try to push for the extra yards. You saw Ryan McNaughton, his center, number 54, the senior from East Northport, a 3-year varsity player, getting behind Merrill. Usually he's in front of Merrill. He got behind then and trying to push his quarterback a few more yards forward.
You got to love it, but you know, right here, if you're St. Anthony's, got to be a bit weary of getting too conservative with the play calling. I know you want to drain clock, but nonetheless, got to still stay with the pedal to the metal with this being a 1-score game, and you need to punch something in order to distance yourselves from Richie Beelen and company.
Merrill up the middle. Fumbles the football, and Hayes gets it back.
Wow.
Biggio fell on it.
What a play right there. You know, we saw Gary Merrill fumble on the 2-point conversion last time they scored, so a little bit of ball security concerns. The only thing you can't do here is turn the ball over, and once again, you see that ball ripped out. Looked like it might have been Joshua Losman coming by who got the hand in and then ultimately recovered by Biggio.
And that was, I literally was like a play away from saying to you, you're getting to the point of the game now where you're going to start stripping at the ball, right? And that's exactly what you saw there as the faithful for Cardinal Hayes. And they brought the drum, makes it feel like a soccer game here. And now it goes back to Cardinal Hayes. 1st and 10 from their own 19 with 3:15 remaining.
Dylan doesn't get any better than this. I don't know if I'm going to have any fingernails after this one.
Richie Beelen up the middle, breaks a tackle. Rich Beelen up the sideline. And Beelen finally forced out by Kevin Moore.
Wow, after seeming anemic for a lot of this second half, the Cardinal Hayes offense is back to life behind their veteran signal caller. And what a big play right there, just following his blockers. Really nice block by Philip Ramdas that springs that one open. And then Richie Beelen doing the rest down the sideline all the way to the 35-yard line.
Beelen slings it far side. That's complete. What a cut inside. Antoine Harvey. Touchdown, Cardinal Hayes.
What a play right there. Antoine Harvey, who had just fumbled on the previous possession, with the sweet taste of redemption with that touchdown right there. Gotta love the character of this Hayes team to keep fighting. Things didn't seem good just about 1 minute ago, but a lot can happen in high school football in a short period of time. A turnover and a couple plays later, Hayes marches in and in a position to go for 2 right here, looks like, to take the lead. And a bold call from C.J. O'Neill, leaving his offense out on the field right here, looking to take the lead. He doesn't want to play for overtime.
So Beelen with Ken G. Burnham to his right. Huge 2-point conversion. Beelen takes it himself, pushes forward. Is he in? He is! Beelan!
And got to give a shout out to Kenji Burnham right here. Just gets on his quarterback's back and does a little bit of Reggie Bush action with the tush push to get this final momentum going in. He starts off as a lead blocker, and you'll see Richie slip in front of him, just diving forward with his quarterback, saying, hey, let's take this lead.
And with 2:53 left in the fourth quarter, the Cardinals with their first lead.
Yeah, I really don't know how to put this into words, what we've seen out here throughout the course of this game. Dylan, a lot of fun. Exactly what we had hoped for when we build this as the game of the year, as we see Kenji Burnham, unfortunately, laying out on the field in the side or in the end zone with an injury.
Parents and fans, if you like today's broadcast, it's never too late to book one with Varsity Media. With the winter and spring seasons approaching, contact us and learn how we can help feature your athletes and teams. Email ben@varsitymedia.net. So Cardinal Hayes, they've played catch-up the entire game. Twice they were down by 2 scores. And look at this, with 2:53 left. Rich Beelan gets in the end zone, then he gets the 2-point conversion, and he gives the defending champs a 1-point lead.
First lead of the day. But hey, with 2:53 on the clock, they got to be feeling good about it. Now time to see what Gary Merrill can respond with coming off that costly turnover on the previous possession.
And it is Beelan to kick off. Joe Minucci, the St. Anthony's head coach, trying to inspire his group here. Beelan thumps it deep. Return there at the 10 by Kevin Moore. Kevin Moore up the sideline. Kevin Moore still on his feet finally. Forced out of bounds.
And all day long, this kick return unit for St. Anthony's has been having a huge impact on the game. Kevin Moore, one of their most dynamic threats. And you just see what he does, following a whole host of Friars up the middle, finds a seam, and looked like he might have been able to take this one all the way if it weren't for Richie Beelan, now adding tackling to his repertoire.
And Moore kind of announced himself last year in that rivalry game at Chaminade, right? Chaminade had just taken a lead in that game. Returns the kickoff for a touchdown, completely changed momentum. What he did here was give the Friars terrific field position, a 1st and 10 from the Hayes 48-yard line. Friars playing from behind for the first time all day. Bala up the middle.
And that's just another great play right there by Blake Beelan in the middle, just shutting things down. And really not much going A-gap to A-gap when you're trying to run against this Hayes D.
1 yard for Xavier Bala. Back to Bala, explodes, breaks the first tackle, and he gets taken down at the 40-yard line. Gain of 6.
Nice tackle right there from Aiden Smart, the senior out of Brooklyn.
3rd and 3 now. 2 minutes remaining in regulation time. Bala again. Little stutter step, little push forward. Where was his forward momentum?
And this is going to be tight. From my naked eye, looked like he was just about maybe a half a yard short of the line to gain.
And Chris Atchison waves his hands over his head to signal to stop the clock. And we will bring out the chains. Oh boy.
From our perspective in the booth, looks like this one is going to be just short and brings up another huge 4th down scenario for St. Anthony's. Obviously going to keep the offense out on the field. Wonder if they go back to the same well they used earlier, throw Gary Merrill under center and do a little QB sneak action, or do they just keep it with Bala on the ground?
And yeah, that is short. The signal of a touchdown short.
And, you know, we say football is a game of inches. Well, St. Anthony's entire season coming down to one play. Can you get 12 inches, 18 inches when you need it the most?
4th down and 1 from the 38.
Last time, Merrill went under center and pushed forward. 4th and 1.
Looks like Hayes going to use a timeout.
Hayes calls a timeout. We'll take it with them as well. 1:46 left. 4th quarter. Don't go anywhere. You're watching the Catholic semifinals right here in the Varsity Media Sports Network.
You're watching the Varsity Media Sports Network, the home for New York high school sports.
What's next for you? A bolder, more engaged you. A career-focused you. A you that leads your community and helps change the world. Take the next step and get your bachelor's degree at Malloy with special transfer programs and scholarships and a career-focused curriculum. Malloy makes a nationally ranked private university education attainable and your dream job possible. Malloy University. Welcome to the new you.
Back here at Cy Donnelly Field, it has come down to this, 4th and 1 for the Friars. They're down by 1:46 left in the 4th quarter. A first down will extend their season. A stop for Hayes, and the Cardinals are back in the championship game. Merrill to the sideline, pushes forward.
And I think that last spin might have gotten him enough, Dylan. This is going to be close, depending on the spot, but I think he got it.
It looked like he was stopped initially.
Gary Merrill with the last little turn at the very end of this.
And they will give him the first down.
And what a huge play. I love the play call. You know what? At a critical juncture like that, you got to give the ball to your best player. Gary Merrill all year long has proved reliable, and an opportunity to extend this drive and potentially extend their season.
Timeout. St. Anthony's. They've got 2 remaining. Cardinal Hayes with 1. So, Pat, we mentioned both of these programs have guys we could watch on Saturdays. And listen, if you have the Big Ten Network, or you know, like you could see a lot of a few of these guys.
Ian Strong and KJ Duff both coming off a huge week. Last week, I think both guys went for about 70 yards receiving. Dante Torres, such a joy getting to watch him during his high school career at Cy Donnelly Field, now making waves up at Harvard, so he's no dummy. Jaden Platt at William & Mary, and then Kenyon Miles at Villanova, both taking care of business in the CAA, and gotta love to see it. St. Anthony's just a powerhouse of a program. Then on the flip side, Cardinal Hayes, look at this. Henry Beelan had a few starts last year at the quarterback position for Duke, really doing some great things under Manny Diaz. Got Damon Barnes in the Ivy League, Elijah Fuentes under Fran Brown up at Syracuse. So Beelan as well as Mann can expect to join him next year. Charlton at Towson and Gavin Taylor at Central Connecticut. So both these programs with illustrious histories, great alumni bases, and a lot of pride that they're playing with right now as the season all comes down to this.
1st and 10 for St. Anthony's from the Cardinal Hayes 37. That's Moore in motion. Moore around the outside. Scampers to about the 30.
I thought he might have had that if he kept going. Moore decides to cut it in, and another factor right here is just becoming the time as the clock ticks down past a minute 20 seconds.
Yeah,
really going to have some pep in the step.
Yeah, sorry, Pat. Potentially you could have got out of bounds or caught the corner there. Merrill rolls right. He's got a lot of receivers downfield. Merrill takes it himself, gets to the sideline where he's forced out. Ooh, and look at this. A late flag as well. Some contact.
Looks like they're going to get Brandon Garcia on kind of what wound up being an incidental late contact. You know, that's a tough scenario. Garcia's not looking to make a hit right there, but kind of just stopping himself. Merrill runs into him, and all of a sudden.
Dead ball, personal foul on the defense.
You want to talk about a costly penalty.
Personal foul charged to Cardinal Hayes. 15-yard penalty added to the end of the run.
Looks like you've got an injured Cardinal out there on the field. Opportunity for Hayes to kind of reset right here. And, you know, 15-yard penalty right there on the late hit. And it doesn't get any more consequential than that. 1:03 left on the season for one of these teams.
And again, the reset with the timeouts, 2 for St. Anthony's, 1 for Cardinal Hayes. And that injured player, Derek Lopez.
So for St. Anthony's, it really turns into execution, right? Got to make sure you protect that ball.
And this is why C.J. O'Neill is such a veteran coach, right? He comes out with the trainer to make sure that his guy is all right, right? But then you can get a couple extra words in for the officials on the call.
Exactly. You know, there's always a game,
as you're
game
walking
within a
yourself
game
off
to
the
be
field.
played, and I think there's no better master of that than C.J. O'Neill. Gotta love Coach out there in his shorts, no matter whether it's 90 degrees or 5 degrees outside.
So 1st and 10 from the 12-yard line for St. Anthony's with 63 seconds left in regulation time. Bala to the right of Merrill. Trips left for the Friars. Merrill takes it himself up the middle. He is hit hard, and a flag again.
Wow, that's a bold call right there from our officiating crew. Looks like they wind up getting Hayes on a face mask on this one. Gary Merrill instantly looks back for it as soon as he gets hit. Let's look at this one more time. Play fake to Bala. And
face
then,
mask.
yeah, face mask and Kamari Valentine. You see his head kind of whip back a little bit. We'll see what our officiating crew does. Got to give them a little hats off for great job out here tonight.
Yeah, you have Chris Atchison, the referee, the umpire, Frank Parker, the line judge, Paul Rupp, field judge, Alex Toussaint. They will pick up the flag. Back judge is Pierre Williams. Your side judge is Matt Powers.
Hate to say it, Dylan, but I think they had the call right on their gut instinct. Wind up picking that one up and sending it to 2nd down.
So they'll put 52 seconds back up on the clock. And a timeout called by St. Anthony's. Friars still with 1 remaining. Both teams with 1 timeout remaining.
Dylan, you could cut the tension here with a knife at Cy Donnelly Field. Obviously an easy field goal range, but as we know at the high school level, nothing comes easy. St. Anthony's been having some challenges with that unit.
And Pat, as we have all year, I want to thank, of course, Gipper. What a great job they do. You love all those graphics we put up there. Well, that's Gipper. That's part of our team doing all that work and making us look good.
No doubt. You know, they always say win one for the Gipper. Well, we win them all with Gipper. Thank you so much for their support year-round. And ultimately, it makes our job that much easier up here in the booth to deliver top-notch high school football to you guys.
And if you're an athletics program looking to up your social media game, Gipper is your answer. So to reset, we've got a 2nd and 7 from the 10-yard line. 52 seconds left. Both teams with 1 timeout remaining. Merrill follows Bala, cuts it inside. Gary Merrill, touchdown!
Gary Merrill, what a play. And he redeems himself after the costly fumble on the previous possession. He wasn't going to go out that way. And Merrill's just going to follow a host of blockers, namely Xavier Bala, as well as Will Hart right out there on the edge. And just boom, muscles it in. And with 46 seconds left, looks like St. Anthony's going to go for 2 to extend this to a 7-point lead.
Merrill's 4th rushing touchdown of the game. And again, 2 weeks ago at Columbia, had the winning touchdown run with 25 seconds left.
Wow. The question becomes, did you leave too much time for Richie Beelan with 46 seconds and a timeout?
Well, you got to go for 2 again. To the outside. Merrill is short. Biggio on the tackle.
Dylan, to our chagrin, we won't be getting any overtime here tonight. I could definitely use another little period of football, but you know what? This is going to come down to the final seconds. Richie Beelan with probably about 40 seconds by the time he gets the ball back. We'll see if Hayes has one more trick up their sleeve. Can't say enough about this St. Anthony's O. You know, the mark of a team is not whether you get knocked down, but how many times you keep getting back up. As a tough turn of events, losing the lead for the first time all game with just around 3 minutes and change left, but as efficient a drive as you'll see off the great return from Kevin Moore, and then Gary Merrill to put the icing on the cake, punching it in and giving the Friars the lead.
So here we go.
DiGregorio to kick off.
DiGregorio to kick off for St. Anthony's. The C.J. O'Neill's Cardinals have one more big play in them in this season.
And remember, last time these guys had the ball, they were able to score in less than 46 seconds. It took about 3 plays last drive to get all the way down the field. CJ O'Neill would love to have some good field position to kick off this drive.
DiGregorio angles it. It's Harvey from the 12 up the middle. Not much there for Harvey, so it's not the best field position now for Rich Beelan. And one thing to note, too, about Beelan, like these are arguably the two most dynamic quarterbacks, not only in this league but in the state, Pat, but Rich Beelan's arm is second to none. This guy can throw it 60 yards down the field.
Yeah, seriously, you know, if you're on your own 40-yard line, that's still Hail Mary territory for Rich Beelan. So certainly this one is not yet in the books. If you're a St. Anthony's fan, might be a time to say a little prayer to St. Anthony, help your defense find themselves out here.
Well, that might be what Joe Minucci wants to call a timeout for. To get the brothers here together and say one last prayer. So that is the Friars' final timeout. Cardinal Hayes still with one timeout remaining. Winner of this one takes on either Iona or Chaminade. I'm hearing that you're upsetting a lot of Chaminade faithful with your lack of faith in them, saying that Iona Prep would surely win that game.
I was still working through the thought, you know. I'm never going to count anybody out. Chaminade has had an incredible year themselves, a lot to be proud of. And going up to New Rochelle, facing tall odds, but at the same time, it wasn't easy to go into the Lions Den at Monsignor Farrell last week and get a win. So who's to say that they can't repeat it?
Listen, I am hearing the last people you want to upset is a football mom.
Oh, no.
And football moms are on your case right now.
Football moms, I love you. All your sons are special.
First and 10 from the 21. A real special one is Rich Beelan. Quick out for Harvey, drops the football.
But got to like how they're thinking right there, pushing the ball towards the sideline. Don't want to get tackled inbounds because even after a big play, that could cost you 15, 20 seconds that you can't afford right now. Only one timeout.
I was going to say you might have to then burn that timeout you have.
Does Richie Beelan have it in him? 79 yards, 36 seconds for a chance at another
We saw
AAA
a miracle
title.
Ending last year in the Catholic Championship. His
No doubt.
connection with Cleveland Charlton in the back of the end zone that won it for Hayes. Beelan does go over the middle, fires it to Harvey. Makes the catch at the 40.
That's good for a first down.
So the clock stops as the chains move, and now it will wind.
Hayes looking to get a play call in. This has cost them a lot of valuable time. I'm shocked they didn't use a timeout as the clock ticks down to about 15 seconds right here.
That's exactly what you said could have happened. Beelan fires it towards the sideline. What a grab. Was he inbounds? Tyrone Smith. A flag, though, is on the play.
What a play right there, but only 6 seconds left. So, Dylan, we're talking Hail Mary at this point.
And that goes
and a flag on the play.
That goes against Cardinal Hayes.
And Dylan, we mentioned it, very, very costly mismanagement of the clock right there for Cardinal Hayes. Had they used that timeout, they're probably looking at about 30 or so seconds in order to try and continue this drive. Instead, down to just 6 seconds, and after the penalty, they're going to have to go about 70 yards.
Second down and 20.
You have 4 defensive backs now playing prevent defense. The final timeout of the game called by Cardinal Hayes.
And with that final timeout, you can be relatively certain this next play will be the last play of the game. So all of a sudden you start talking about, hey, we're not quite in Hail Mary position right here. Got about 70 yards to go. Do we have a lateral play that we practice at all throughout the course of the year? Some of these weird situations you don't necessarily get the chance to game plan for all of a sudden become super relevant in a junction like this.
And they got to go from their own 30-yard line. And they've got playmakers to do it. We know that.
No doubt, no doubt. But it takes a coordinated effort when you're talking about a lateral play. Need some offensive linemen with some soft hands who can potentially tote the rock for a second, get it back to a playmaker. But we saw a few years ago, Miami versus Duke, a legendary 10 lateral walk-off for the Hurricanes. So anything can happen, and I'm sure that's what Joe Minucci's reminding his defense right now.
All right, Friar fans, let's make some noise. It's
here we go.
Down and 20.
A second and 20. The first down means nothing at this point. Cardinal Hayes has to get 70 yards downfield and in the end zone.
All skill guys out there right now. All the defensive linemen off the field, just looking to get as much speed as possible. Only guy out there is Urso from this St. Anthony's D-line.
Beelan. And now we start the lateral game. This one hits the ground. Smith
still
hands
alive.
Off. It's Reed Jones. Jones still alive. He goes backwards.
And it keeps going.
And there's the fumble and the end of the game. And St. Anthony's, led by Gary Merrill, they beat Cardinal Hayes, and the Friars march on to the Catholic AAA championship game.
This victory's got to be so sweet for Gary Merrill, who left the field last year with a bad taste in his mouth, losing his playoff game 42-14 right here in South Huntington to Cardinal Hayes. Well, guess what? Next year, come around, turn it around. They won the regular season matchup and are able to win again 13 days later at home against the reigning state champions. So C.J. O'Neill's repeat bid will come to an end here tonight, and St. Anthony's moving on to Mitchell Field to face the winner of Chaminade versus Iona Prep. Both teams who they lost to with a shot at revenge for the Friars.
Let's take a look at the live bracket, and you see St. Anthony's booking their spot there as the number 2 seed. Iona Prep and Chaminade tomorrow up in New Rochelle. That should be a doozy as well. But for tonight, the Friars celebrate, and as you mentioned, Merrill, his DNA was all over this one, right? An 18-yard touchdown run, a 32-yard touchdown run, connected with James Taylor for a 39-yard touchdown, then an 11-yard touchdown run, a 10-yard touchdown run, and it was that touchdown run with 46 seconds left that sealed this win for St. Anthony's. And again, it bears repeating, up at Columbia, week 9, right? essentially for home field in this game if you can both get there. And it was Merrill with the winning touchdown with 25 seconds left. This guy is a winner. He's a baller. Listen.
And a flair for the dramatic.
He's a football player right now.
No doubt, no doubt. Well, one thing I love about Gary Merrill is the fact that he's always had the killer's mentality. He keeps fighting no matter what's going on. We saw him lose a costly fumble there down the stretch in the fourth quarter, and you think, how is number 16 going to respond after Richie Beelan punched in a touchdown for the lead? Well, guess what he does? He goes down and, like clockwork, drives it in, finishes it off with an 11-yard touchdown, and just like that, the Friars are back in the AAA title game.
Quick, before we go off the air, quick note here. Cardinal Hayes, our season ends at 7-4, but what an incredible year it was for C.J. O'Neal and his guys. They can certainly hold their heads high. Again, they tout themselves as a team that is significantly better in the month of November than they are in September. They proved that again despite a difficult season-ending loss here in the semifinals.
It's a tough way for things to finish off, but you know what? There only gets to be one state champion on an annual basis. This team has nothing to hang their heads over. They came out here and fought and put on a great showing here at a very difficult environment, tough place to come into from the Bronx on a Friday night, and almost walked away victorious. So they're going to look to reset things, go and finish the season on a high note on Thanksgiving Day against Mount St. Michael. But, as always, I'm sure C.J. O'Neal's program will be back and better than ever in the future.
In that end zone, they will sing the St. Anthony's fight song. They'll go to the locker room and prepare to play a championship game. St. Anthony's is in the championship game, winning over Hayes 35-30. What a game it was. I want to thank everybody here from the Varsity Media Sports Network. Our executive producer, Ben Turchin. Our technical director, Becca Kazaks, Joe Foster, Ron Pierre, bringing you all those great moving images. For my broadcast partner, Pat Godfrey, Dylan Butler, thanking you for joining us from South Huntington. And we look forward to seeing you next time on the Varsity Media Sports Network.